incident or conflict.
Sport.
Good afternoon, I'm Toby Gillis. Zinedine Zidane is officially the France boss through to the next World Cup and will immediately be looking to unite that ludicrously talented dressing room. Many blamed their defeat by Spain in the semis a couple of weeks back on being less of a team. French journalist Julien Laurent says getting the big stars together will be easier for a man of Zidane's stature.
It's inevitable that he will have that respect from the fans, from us, the media, from the players. I mean, how many times Michael Olise or Kylian Mbappe have said that they grew up watching him on tapes and on YouTube a bit later.
Reports in the last few minutes that Roberto Mancini will be Italy's new head coach. Pep Guardiola and Andrea Pirlo had both been approached, but financial reasons for the former and political ones for the latter have led them to the former Manchester City boss. We're being warned the new trial aimed at ending goalkeepers feigning injury to get a tactical timeout might not end the practice. It was announced yesterday that English footy will run the rule this season, but Kevin Nolan reckons teams might prefer a minute with 10 men to break an opponent's momentum than no tactical stoppage at all.
To put crosses in your box, you're trying to just stop their flow and their momentum, get the ball back, kick the ball back, get the ball back in their half time, play their half for the last 5 minutes, and there'll be nothing to stop a centre forward going down with a sort of head injury. Got to stop the game.
Just getting some breaking news out of Manchester City. Josko Gvardiol has signed a new 5-year contract at the Etihad. And amid uncertainty around his future, Rodri has had back surgery. City say it was successful and he'll now begin a short period of rehab before joining pre-season. Ipswich have signed Kjell Scherpen, the Union Saint-Gilloise keeper, on a 4-year deal for £11 million. And is this the ultimate, alleged, we must say, cheating? An investigation has taken place into a cricket match in North Yorkshire and South Durham League Division 2. This is between Saltburn and Norton's second teams. A video has gone viral, apparently showing Saltburn's first slip, clicking his fingers as the ball flies past the batter to the keeper, who then appeals successfully for caught behind. Saltburn won the match by 159 runs and are top of the league by 17 points.
talkSPORT. News.
The PM has announced his plan to keep young people off benefits, and we're being advised to not sit under trees during this fourth heat wave. Sinead has more in half an hour.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. The big summer sale is now on, with great deals on a wide range of tyres. Visit quickfit.com and book today. Conditions apply.
A nation of two halves today. Rain for the north, down as far as northern England. Dry and sunny and pretty hot further south.
Yes, good afternoon. You're listening to Jonny Owen and Sean Dyche, or Sean Dyche and Jonny Owen on talkSPORT. Coming up on the show today, we'll be asking if it just got harder for Thomas Tuchel to win the Euros. Zidane and Klopp both moving into the international management scene. We'll also discuss Chelsea's pensioners, I see what you did there with the script, as they look to add some experience to the squad, a new goalkeeper tactical timeout rule head into English football. I'm sure Sean will have his view on that. And we'll get Sean's take also on the new Liverpool boss, Androni Iraola. Go on, have I got it right?
Iraola. We always get it wrong. We
Style of play. Yes.
12 times.
Yes, we'll be joined by former Arsenal and England goalkeeping legend David Seaman, top Spanish football journalist William Balig, and we'll be talking about the Spanish FA, which is very interesting, and former FA chief Adrian Bevington. Bev will be on, and we'll squeeze in another round of Sean's Dyche, which is exceptionally popular and always seems to go viral. All that plus three live races from glorious Goodwood. This is Jonny Owen and Sean Dyche on talkSPORT. Well, we certainly put the cat amongst the pigeons yesterday, Sean, didn't we? When we were talking about...
Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was interesting. We got Gwilym Balaguer, not Gwilym Balig or someone you just said. Was that the Welsh way of calling it?
What do you say? Gwilym, what would you say?
Gwilym Balaguer.
Gwilym Balaguer.
I love the way you just called it, though. Gwilym Balig.
Gwilym Balig.
I like it.
Gwilym Balaguer. You've got to get it right, haven't you?
It's Welsh, surely. It's Welsh for his name.
It's the Welsh version, yeah, exactly. Gwilym Balig. Yeah, it's just good to sort of... my phone lit up, as they say yesterday.
No, it was good. I really enjoyed it. And some of the great listeners we got were
fantastic.
Putting some great points. Yeah, no, it's good. Really enjoyed it.
So we're
picking that up. Yeah,
we've worked hard. We've got somebody coming in, like I was saying, Gwilym Balig to talk about the Spanish FA. We've got somebody talking about the French FA, which is very interesting because obviously they've got a very famous man moving into the hot seat there, the great Zinedine Zidane, and they've had that famous setup, which is Claire Fontaine. I said that right, didn't I?
Yeah, they were like not a feeder club, but 20, 30 years ago, maybe they were one of them teams that started almost held their hands up to be, in them teams that were progressive in the sense of developing players.
Yeah.
Knowing they're going to go to other teams.
Yeah.
Claire Fontaine were a big one for that.
Yeah. So what the French setup looks like. And also, we thought it would be worth bringing in Tim Vickery, who's fantastic on South America, so he can talk about Argentina and Brazil. What's their setup like? Brazil are obviously a country now that, haven't won.
Yeah, they've hit their troubles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, that'll be good to listen to. Good
and
to
Argentina, because, Sean had a very good point last night, was, let's talk also about the fact that the English team sat back, but the Argentinian team, interesting enough, they stepped the game up. So what is their mentality?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think we'll go into it as the show progresses.
Let's find out some bits and bobs happening in the English Premier League. Some sort of rumours on the managerial front. On the transfer front. Sean, Manchester City sort of setting their stall out today. I listened to your advice. I came in on an Uber aircon. Yeah. It's too hot in London.
It's hot today. It's going to be hot tomorrow, apparently.
The Uber driver was a lovely man. Is a massive Arsenal fan, and he was talking about the show yesterday and mentioning the fact that Arsenal have gone for it and have sort of like set their stall out very, very early. And Manchester City, I mean, what do you think, Sean? I mean, the changing of manager at Manchester City, will it have that much? Because he's let's be fair, he's one of the greats of the managerial game, and he's changed the way. I don't think anybody's quite changed the way football has. Only a handful of people. He's one of them.
No, but I think we're bringing Maresca in. I think they've sort of put it in line as someone who's worked with him before, someone who'll keep the kind of ethos, the feel of it, I would imagine, anyway.
Yeah.
Be interested. I'm sure he's his own man, though. I mean, I think we saw that at Chelsea.
Yeah.
If you remember when Maresca went in there, he kind of shifted a few out and almost went, well, if you're not part of what we do, you can go and train over there type thing.
Yes.
He's obviously his own man.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see him. Like all these clubs, I mean, I think it's opening up for a really interesting campaign. You've had a really interesting World Cup, loads of debates, of course, about many things, but of course about England. And then going into the Premier League this season and all the other divisions, but we always concentrate, or certainly I do, the Premier League.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be really interesting, I really do, because of all these changes, managerial changes, who's going to be the runners and riders. I think personally, Arsenal immediate favourites for me, because they've got continuity.
Yeah.
But let's see all these changes made. I will remind our viewers, I didn't say Chelsea pensioners and then name.
No, I didn't either.
That's just
the pesky kids writing the scripts all
exactly.
in there. They don't have to face the public.
So Danny Welbeck, these are proper pros. They're not pensioners. Come on.
Let's touch on Chelsea. I mean, obviously. Xabi Alonso's gone in there.
Yeah. And
he's gone, I want these kind of players. He's spotted something. That would be him, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but I wonder, again, I love the insider stories. So, I don't mind generalising, from an outside view, because that's what we're here for. But it's interesting with Xabi Alonso. He goes in there, lays down a kind of a way of working, and the players weren't having it quite clearly. And then they come to Chelsea. Is he going to do that again?
Yeah.
Is he going to lay down his rule and go, this is the way we're working?
Yes.
Because he just felt when he went into Real, it didn't work.
Didn't work.
Yeah, so now he's got another chance at it.
Yeah.
Different group, different mentality and all that sort of stuff. But it's interesting, isn't it? You know, young coach have done a major job in Germany.
Oh, Bayer Leverkusen.
Yeah, brilliant.
When they've been.
Yeah, but you know, it's a different culture, you see, and I'm intrigued by, you know, the difference you go in with all the Galacticos and all that sort of the noise around it. The treatment of them is probably very, very different to having, you know, the German mentality and the players you had there and that drive to be organised. And, you know, I think there's a lot more freer kind of reign. I imagine this at Real Madrid. And then he goes into Chelsea. Probably a mixed bag.
Yeah.
Few free spirits there.
Yeah.
Few proper pros. It looks like he's going to bring a few proper pros in, or older pros, more experienced pros, maybe to glue it all together.
Yeah.
So, but he certainly had some good experiences for a relatively short period of in his managerial run so far.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking just before we came on here about Liverpool's manager's change. You were a fan of that manager and what he did at Bournemouth, and you complimented, didn't you?
There's stories are coming back out now, almost making out that I was doing him down by saying he played high level, lower league football.
Yeah.
It was a massive compliment. I didn't mean it in that way, and you know I didn't, and they know I didn't, by the way, because I always said it's a compliment.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with getting the ball forward.
No.
They do it with real ability. Players of a very high ability. Some of them Bournemouth players, you know, are ever so underrated.
Yeah.
Well, they're not so much now.
Yeah.
And, you know, lifting it behind teams, asking questions, why players running at teams, you know, putting teams under pressure, pressing from the off.
Yeah.
Two midfielders often. You know, 4-4, like a variance of a 4-4-2 often.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Two midfielders working their socks off,
Yeah.
you know, and doing all the ugly hard yards, but with some ability as well. Semenyo, I mean, you know what season he had.
Yeah.
Now, whether they can do it again now that the manager's changed will be a different thing.
Yeah.
But I wonder whether Areola's going to take that thinking into a Liverpool camp, which, to be fair, it's not that dissimilar, you know, to the end of Klopp, if you think so, playing a lot more longer passes, a lot more quality longer passes, I always reference, you know, because as soon as I say that, people think I'm doing them down. I'm not. I'm complimenting these players.
Yes.
If you're a Premier League player and you can't pass it 30 or 40 yards, you shouldn't be a Premier League player.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with a longer pass. And I think Areola will use that wisely, particularly with a higher level, even more higher level than the Bournemouth players have proved to be. I think, but it'll be interesting.
No, I agree. That great rivalry between Klopp and Guardiola when Liverpool were really pushing them all the way. I used to really enjoy the way Liverpool played that.
Yeah.
They played much more direct and they get behind you and it was a different kind of football.
Well, people forget about Klopp's journey at Liverpool. If you think the early seasons, like 700, 800, 900 passes a game or that sort of thinking, not always literal, but you get what I mean. Didn't win anything, couldn't get it going, and then they started being semi-direct, getting the ball forward, getting Salah on the turnover and transition, playing not direct as we're imagining. Like I say, we're on about transition, pass forward quickly, get Salah running, get the back line broken, and became a real force.
Oh, they were terrific.
And they still played good stuff as well.
Yeah.
By the way. I must make that clear. Yeah. What I'm saying is they added something to their game, and it wasn't just constant passing and method. They actually added the freedom to go and say, "Go on, then."
Yeah.
I mean, Van Dijk getting out of his feet.
Yeah.
As soon as he opens up like a quarterback.
Yeah.
And they know, and as soon as he opens up, you see Salah just setting off.
Yeah.
And I think they were probably expecting that bit of Isak, but obviously injuries and all that, so we'll have to wait and see. But I think Areola will probably do his own version of a similar way of doing things.
Yeah.
I think to Klopp.
Yeah, that's and Klopp's gone to Germany. Your old pal.
many a beer drank with Jurgen. Look. On the sidelines, we had some great clashes, but really good ones. You know, he's a top manager without a shadow of a doubt, and he's proved that. But he's a builder.
Yeah,
and we're saying he builds teams and builds clubs in his own style. Now, will he be able to do that with an international side? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah,
you were on fire that day on the side of the pitch. You're on fire again now. You were listening to Owen and Dyche, or Dyche and Owen on talkSPORT in partnership with Tool Station. First up, Tool Station.
Vinicius Jr. I'll read this from the Telegraph Sport, their sports pull-out this morning. Dom King writes, Arsenal prepared to offer Brazilian forward Vini Jr. the biggest contract in the club's history as they plot to outline their soaring ambition. He currently commands a weekly salary, 400,000 euros a week at Madrid, but Arsenal would look to improve that to maximise their chances of pulling off an audacious coup. It kind of came out of nowhere, didn't it, boys, on Saturday afternoon. He's got a year left on his deal at Real Madrid. Arsenal exploring the possibility, Troy, of signing Vinny Jr.? Is it going to happen? And if it does happen, where does this rank in Premier League history in terms of biggest coups for the Premier League, not just Arsenal?
If it did happen, it would be amazing for the Premier League to have a superstar on that level in terms of global appeal, blah, 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 all that stuff. I don't like it.
Why?
I don't like it. I don't think it suits the way that Arsenal play. I don't think his personality suits Arteta.
What do you mean his personality?
I think he's a massive diva in regard to like what he wants, what he needs. And I don't think he would buy into the collective. And now that would be something new for Arteta to have to deal with, right? Because he's all about the group. So how do you have Saka on one side, who's the captain, has done everything right, and then you bring in this guy and go, oh, by the way, everyone, give him the ball. And you have to keep giving him the ball. But yeah, I don't like it. I don't think it helps Arsenal.
You might just want some players who've been there, seen it, done it. Great pros, rub off on everyone else, bring them along. You know what I mean? That old school sort of thinking where you get a good bunch of pros who can rub off on all the young guns and bring a culture and an environment to it by their standards.
If you stay professional, if you look after yourself, you take care of your body, you can have a nice longevity career.
Jonny Owen here with Sean Dyche. Sean, some more breaking news all the time with transfers. John Stones. I rate John Stones.
Yep.
Looks like he's on his way to Italy. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you know, these players now at his time of life, it won't be about money, that's for sure.
No.
Having been such a successful career. I think it's about lifestyle. I think it's about a new challenge, something different. If it happens, you know, and he's in that position in his life, which is a brilliant position to be in. He's earned the right after his career. You know, the career he's had. He's earned the right without a shadow of a doubt. And I sometimes think it's a cultural thing. Just go and do something different, go and experience something different. So I can imagine that's probably a big part of what he's thinking, is because he's been at the top club for the last few years in the Premier League.
Yes, a bit like what McTominay did, really. He was sort of
but slightly differently, I think. Yeah, oh goodness me, what a player! I mean, we sadly lost out on him at Everton. I was gutted. We were in a swap deal, and we thought it was going to happen. I was so gutted because I thought he'd do for me. Yeah. And then my radar was pretty good on that one and just didn't join us.
Yeah. Into Napoli. Yeah. Yes. No, I mean, and interesting, talking of Italy, it looks like keeps flashing up your Robert Mancini might be getting...
Yeah, Roberto Mancini.
So he's kind of...
He was there before when he had around 60 games, I think, or something like that. Good win rate. Yeah. You know, I mean, look, he obviously knows the script, doesn't he? So yeah, it's just a strange one having gone away over to Qatar or whatever, you know, or somewhere out that way. Yeah. He's experienced that. Fair enough. Yeah. Probably come back a couple of quid.
Probably a couple of quid.
Heavy. Yeah, a couple of quid deeper.
Do you know what they used to call him when he was managing in Gorton? It used to be Moss Side. It's Gorton, I think the new ground is in Manchester. They used to call him Bobby Mank.
Really? I like it, yeah. It's good, isn't it?
It's a good name for him, actually.
Yeah, Bobby Mank. Yeah, I love it.
And I.
How you doing?
Oh, good lad. You were all fresh. You were bathing in the sea yesterday. Where are you today?
I was. I'm at glorious Goodwood today, overlooking the Sussex Downs. So yeah, they're excited to be here.
What's the temperature of the sea today?
It's still a bit warm, I think. For me. Yeah. I'm off to Portugal next week, and I can tell you the sea in Portugal is freezing. That's my type of sea.
Oh, that's the Atlantic, isn't it? It gets cold, isn't it?
It's lovely.
Yeah, it's lovely. Refreshing.
Ginger back and I always sweat in the fridge.
He just turned the aircon up.
Silverback Gingerback, as you always call me.
Gingerback, yeah.
Aussie and them.
Alex, just chatting through loads of sort of things. It's gaining momentum now, the whole sort of transfer thing. And just looking, Jack Grealish is an interest from clubs in Saudi Pro League. I mean, we were just talking about John Stones and the experience of going abroad. Do you think that's something that could happen for Jack?
Yeah, potentially. We know that Al Hilal want to bring in a new left-sided player. There's been talk of Iliman and Jai and Luis Diaz in particular. I don't think Bayern Munich are going to sell Luis Diaz this summer, and Jai is an interesting one because he's got interest from the Premier League. Everton, I think, would like him to sign a new contract, but he's obviously exploring options. But for Jack Grealish now, 1 year left on his Manchester City deal, obviously on a huge salary there, having signed for £100 million. He has a decision to make. Again, I think Everton would probably like to take him back on loan. They didn't take up the option to pay £50 million to sign him permanently. Maybe a loan deal doesn't suit Manchester City with a year left on his deal. So Saudi Arabia, a distinct possibility. But it's been an amazing fall from grace, isn't it, really, for Jack Grealish? Since they won the treble, Manchester City, I think I'm right in saying he's played 17 Premier League games in a City shirt.
Wow, that is.
Yeah, but Pep's he's strong like that, isn't he?
Yeah.
You know, he wouldn't worry about the price tag and all that. If you're not doing how he sees it, the boy Calvin Phillips didn't fit in, did he? And just went bang, off you go.
He was off.
So yeah, no matter how much he's paid for him, didn't feel that he's the right one for the team, I suppose.
Yeah. There were rumours with you with Grealish when you were at Everton as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, but only trying to do loan deals and stuff like that. We had no money, but you know it's hard to do loan deals with no money now. They want loan fees. No, he's a quality player without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah,
and he's done brilliant last season at Everton until his injury. But it's funny, isn't it? You know, he goes to Man City, 100 million, I think, at the time, and everyone thought rightly so. But he carries the ball a lot, you know. And Pep, if you think of his teams, they play two-touch a lot. I mean, they've got people who can carry the ball, of course, like Bucco and people like that. But you know what I mean? He does carry it and drifts and all that. And I think Pep wants it like playing sharp, you know, get it, give it as quick as he can.
Yeah, it's a very good point. Talking about players who... oh, sorry, Alex, go on.
Go on.
No, I was just going to ask Sean, actually. Is there also, in the modern era, is there a distrust when it comes to maverick players? Because Grealish is not conformative, is he? He sort of plays off the cuff, and I wonder if that's what a modern-day manager is necessarily looking for.
I think there might have been a bit of distrust when he was coming out of Albert Schloss a few times. And I think Pep was going, no, it's not ideal.
Yeah.
No, I know what you mean. Look, I mean, I quite like a bit of arrogance. Not arrogance, controlled arrogance, bit of maverick spirit, bit of... You know, a bit of an edge to players.
Yeah.
You know, on and off the pitch, I don't think that's a problem. But if it doesn't fit with what the business side of it is, because at the end of the day, it's fine when it fits. Now, I don't think there's a problem, mate, to be fair, with maverick players, but they have to fit and do the job.
Yeah.
You can only be a maverick if you're doing the job. There's not mavericks who weren't doing the job who become mavericks of a club because they get them out. You know, they go, no, if you're not doing the job, you're not doing the job.
Yeah.
But no, most teams need a maverick or two.
Yeah.
They're the ones that make it sort of click.
My favourite ever player is Eric Cantona, and I wonder how Eric Cantona will be perceived in the modern game.
Well, I did get told, I'll try and keep this short because I've only got so much time with you, mate, but I did get told a story that when he famously did the kung fu kick, he went around the dressing room and he said, Eric, you know, he's hammering other people. He goes, you can't do that, son.
Yeah.
That was it.
What were you thinking, son?
There's managing him. There's managing him. There's any other manager be tearing a strip of you.
Yeah,
You can't do that, son. And that was it.
And interestingly, lads, you know, both of you with this, so like Grealish, you know, a player that doesn't quite fit in a club, a player that's obviously super talented. I've seen Grealish play Forest once, and he was Villa. In 10 minutes, he destroyed Forest. He scored 2-3 times, all within just a period. As Sean was saying, he just controlled the ball. He went at players. He was the difference in the game. And the boy Delap has gone to Chelsea, and it hasn't worked from there this season, isn't it? And maybe does sometimes look like. Do they need a change of club sometimes?
Yeah, but sometimes taking a step backwards to go forwards can be the case. I mean, it's interesting, like you were saying, some of these lads have you know, they did the hard yards. To be fair to Grealish, you know, I saw him many moons ago when I was at Burnley. We went and scouted him. He was at Oldham alone.
See him at Notts County,
Notts County, sorry. No, sorry, he was at Notts County playing at Oldham.
Yeah.
Or one or the other, I can't remember which.
Yeah.
But he was doing the same. He'd get it and he'd drift and he'd carry it and his socks were down his ankles and all that. But became a very, very good player.
And Everton are interested in Liam Delap, aren't they? I mean, do you think that would be a good move for him?
Yeah, what do you think, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, David Moyes met him before he went to Chelsea, and it was a very positive conversation, I think, but obviously the lure of playing in Europe, playing for Chelsea in the Champions League was too strong. I always felt like maybe that was a little bit too early in his development. Maybe a middle club in the Premier League as opposed to going right into the top would have been a better idea, and I know David Moyes is keen to bolster his attack, not maybe particularly keen on any of the forwards that Everton have got at this moment in time. So I would expect Everton to be back at the table for Liam Delap. There was a little bit of talk about Fulham to me earlier as well, but I think Alvaro Arbeloa is targeting the Spanish market first and foremost. But I think Delap to Everton would make a lot of sense. I think he's a player that David Moyes could really get the best out of. 1 goal in 28 Premier League games for Chelsea last season. I don't think really does Liam Delap justice.
No, I agree, and I think there's a number of clubs, and a handful of clubs definitely. Everton, you could see him Everton, I could see him at Forest, I could see him, and that's no disrespect to the player. I think he's a very, very good player. He's still got loads of football in his
Just
future.
Too soon, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Chelsea.
It's a different weight, isn't it? It's a different weight on your shoulders when you go to clubs like Chelsea, and the lifestyle and all that it is, all it encapsulates. And I'm not making out that Forest are a small club. Of course I'm not. Yeah. But it's like a big version in a smaller environment. You're in the Midlands. There's not everything going on around it. You know what I mean? Chelsea has constant noise, isn't there, around Chelsea? And I do think it's a different kind of animal. And I think going, if he takes a step backwards to go forwards, because I did make a remark yesterday, so I'm not going to back down on it. Maybe with someone like Danny Welbeck, they're looking to him to rub off on someone like Delap. Buy him a bit of development time. So maybe that's the case, but I still think there's a player in there without a doubt.
I couldn't agree more. And Brighton are the latest club, I need to cast their eye over Tottenham midfielder Lucas Bergvall. Any thoughts there? Because I know Forest were heavily linked with him as well, weren't they?
Yeah, I think they had a bid of £38 million rejected. As far as I'm told, Tottenham have told Bergvall that he can't move at this stage, but I think if the money gets high enough, then maybe they'll reconsider that, because obviously they've brought in players of their own. Is he going to be a first-team regular? Probably not. This feels a very Brighton signing to me. I'd imagine if you crunch Lucas Bergvall's data, it comes up very positively, and we know that Tony Bloom, who's got a runner here today, by the way, at Goodwood, he is very data-driven in his approach. So, yeah, this is definitely one to keep an eye on. I think he's a good player, Lucas Bergvall. I think if Brighton could get him, that would be a really good signing, but there's going to be half a dozen clubs in the Premier League, probably, who would be part of that conversation.
And just quickly, one more. Manchester United, considering a bid for Bournemouth is Tyler Adams.
Difficult deal to do. It was reported last week that Bournemouth would take $35 million for Tyler Adams. That's been shot down by my sources on the Dorset coast. They would want a lot more. And I think Bill Foley is really determined this summer. They lost a lot of players at the start of last season, still went on to prosper under Andoni Iraola, qualify for Europe for the first time. He doesn't want to sell the family silver. We know there's been a bid from Chelsea for Alex Scott of $64 million that was rejected. There's been a lot of talk about Eli Junior, Krupi, Barcelona and Manchester City mentioned, but I'm not sure that's any more than agent talk at this stage. And obviously Tyler Adams, who I think had a good World Cup for the USA, I can understand why United will be attracted to him a lot cheaper than maybe some of the players, the likes of Chouameni and Camavinga, who are on their radar, Kone as well, the French international. But at the moment, I think Bill Foley is determined to dig in and keep his players.
Just quickly, Alex, before you go, the tips. You're at Goodwood, I can hear in the background there. Any tips for us?
Yeah, it looks a difficult day today, particularly as we're told the favourite in the main race at 3:35 maybe is not in great fettle. But I'm loath to agree with Rupert Bell, whose tipping record is suspect at times. Is that fair? But we've both picked out Al Ali in the first race under William Buick, so let's hope we get off to a winning start.
Brilliant, Alex. Thanks for joining us.
Alex, you should be head of recruitment. Honestly, I get him in as head of recruitment. He knows more than me about them.
I'm available for offers, Sean. Don't worry.
So am I. I'm ex-service. Mind you, I'm reassuringly expensive, mate. So I don't know where you live in that world, but anyway, I'll see what I can do.
Cheap. I'm cheap.
Thank you, Alex. Speak soon,
Cheers,
mate.
Alex.
Thanks, mate. So listen, on the latest episode of Transfer Insiders podcast, presenters Ryan Scott Douglas and Angelina Kelly discuss John Stones' potential move into Milan. They also react to the latest involving Leeds' pursuit, Leeds Wales, of Manchester City keeper James Trafford. That's an interesting one. Elsewhere, they reflect on Chelsea's change in strategy, with the Blues looking at both Danny Welbeck and Jordan Henderson, and the business Manchester United, I think they're pretty good business actually, United, have done so far this window. You can listen wherever you get your podcasts, and don't forget, Transfer Insiders is back with another live show tonight at 7 p.m. with Ryan alongside Jacob Horsley on talkSPORT.
What do you make of that, Vinicius Junior? He doesn't like it.
I think there's a lot of assumption in it. I saw the clip, and let's be honest, it's a section of a clip, right? So me and him had a back and forth, and it was actually a good chat actually on WhatsApp. And I said, listen, mate, I'm going on talkSPORT and I'm talking about this. And he goes, well, think about it, Joel. Like, you know, Mikel has gotten rid of the likes of Aubameyang because of, you know, the attitude issues. Why should he go back to that once, you know, you've gone so far, you've won the league, you've done everything. Now you're going to bring in someone who could disturb the peace. And he's been so-so. That's what triggered me when he said he's been so-so for Madrid and Brazil. I said, hang on a minute, Troy. You're saying he's been so-and-so for Madrid, but if we look at the stats, in 2025-2026 season, he had 53 games, 22 goals, 9 assists. That's 9 assists. That's 31 goal contributions. And don't forget, the person who operates in his favoured position is the one and only Kylian Mbappe. Now, it's very obvious that him and Kylian are on each other's toes. So it's not that he's so-so. They haven't been able to get the best out of Vinny for the last 2 years. Is it his fault? No. It's because they've got two players playing in similar positions. He then said he's so-so for Brazil. Well, Brazil are in a transition anyway. They haven't been the best in general. I think there's a lot of assumption there where he's not going to buy into it. We don't know if he's going to buy into it or not. I do understand that it does change hierarchy. They are going to have to start playing him the ball. But so what? We are a club that needs this kind of signing. This is our Ozil signing. This is it. We can't compete at the highest level and think we're going to compete against, you know, the PSGs of this world, and we're not making these big signings.
Jonny Owen here with Sean Dyche. Our times are coming up to 25 to 2. I'm looking at the look at the weather there, Sean. 28 degrees out there.
I said yesterday I need emulsion paint, not sun cream when it's like this. Go and get some sunblock on my teeth. Don't want them getting more of a tan.
It's going to be very hot out there. Just a quick shout outs. Ash and Bruno, the Czech Republic, listening again. Gary Boatsy Clark's listening. Now the chairman of Dunkirk. Well, I'm Boats.
We're going to do the talking. I think we're going to do a
Q&A. We're going to do a Q&A there.
Didn't we?
Yeah, we said we'd do one. So he's listening, and good luck to him this season with Dunkirk.
Top man.
What a fine organisation they are, developing young
Blackie
talent.
out there as well. Blackie about there somewhere listening.
Yeah, exactly. Blackie. Also to the bless him, we didn't get his name. A Millwall fan left two pints for us last night.
He did, and we should have got his name.
Should have got his name.
And his wonderful missus as well gave me a big hug and a big kiss to say thanks for my time at Mill, which I really appreciate.
Millwall, as they say. Wall to wall. Wall to wall. And then finally, last but not least, my good mate Nigel Hulbert. We mentioned a few weeks back he's had a few heart attacks. Yeah. He's had a quadruple bypass, but it's been successful, and he's listening. So get well soon, Nigel. There you go. So listen, we're going to talk now about. Sean was like, "What's this?" We just mentioned earlier on, but it's this new rule where the English football are going to be implementing a trial to eradicate the goalkeeper tactical timeout this season. And Sean went, "Just book him." And we were like, that would be the logical thing to do. But where does logic come into it, Sean?
I know. It's just one of them maddening things. You know, we set the ball rolling many years ago when they decided to let people dive all over the place. And so people just use more and more tricks of the trade, if you like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ways of breaking the game, ways of controlling the game, ways of breaking momentum. We've all done it, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Of course. So, I'll hold my hands up. I'm here to tell you the truth. All of our listeners.
Yeah.
We've all done it. But it's got a bit ridiculous. And then the thing is, right, there's a difference between someone getting nothing happen. You know when the goalkeeper catch it and they slide on the floor and then they just lay there?
Yeah.
Well, that's the one when the referee can go, oi,
get
I'm going to give you a warning. If you do it again, you're getting booked, right?
In extra time when they catch it and flop on the floor.
Right, the problem is now, and I get this, right, it can't be put in the medical hands, can it, to make a decision on whether you're injured or not? Because you know what happens, right? The one Peter Cry-Wolf moment, there'll be uproar.
Yeah.
You know, head injuries particularly.
Yeah.
But some of them, you know, it's like, come on, there's got to be responsibility from the players, surely, and the managers to go, come on, just get up and get on with it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know it's not as simple as I'm making out, but I think there is an underbelly of fans, because I normally get hammered for saying this, you know, like my dinosaur ways. But there's an underbelly of fans who tell me all the time, say, Sean, you're right, just stop diving, stop rolling around. You know, you're all allowed to tackle each other.
Yes.
You're allowed to play firm and hard, but fair.
Yeah.
You know, just get back to them days and all this nonsense, you know, just going, oh my goodness, another rule for a rule.
Yeah.
You can't book them. Because I tell you, the biggest threat to management is players getting suspended for no reason.
Yeah.
So why not go for that? You know, rather than all this, but we take another player off. I think Kev Nolan was on before, giving the idea, and he's right. You know, if it's later in the game, you just drop into a 4-4-1, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Which kills the game even more. It's even more boring if, you know, the opposition, because you go, right, we've lost a player.
Yeah.
There could be a big row over it. You lose a player for a minute or whatever it is. Whatever minute, you just drop in, don't you?
Yeah.
So do you know what I mean? But if you book players, trust me, managers do not like that. Like with diving, I brought it up for years. Many years ago, where I was at a Premier League meeting, and I said, what is the worst that can happen for a player? Literally diving, right? No intention. They literally dive and everyone can see it.
Yeah.
And they said, yellow card. And I said, oh, wow, what a big incentive then.
Yeah.
I said, think about it.
Yeah.
So you take a chance in the box, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You go down, because if the worst that can happen is you're going to get a yellow card, why would you not take a chance on diving?
Yeah.
So I said, just sort it out, get it done quicker. And they were hardly ever yelling carding anyone.
No.
So this with the keepers, we all know the difference, don't we?
Yeah.
VAR knows the difference. You've got VAR someone in their ear now who can see the difference. They go, there's not even contact. You know, they're holding their face and that. They need someone come on, they do the eye test and all that, the concussion test. I'm not making light of it, but sometimes it is maddening.
Yeah.
Well, they can all see it, you know, if you've been contacted or hurt. So just speed it up. Just go over and go, give them one warning. If they do it again, book them.
It did get a very strong response yesterday. Massively positive, by the way, what you said, where loads of people were messaging going, you're absolutely right, Sean. From a young age, children should be encouraged not to dive or simulate dive. But like you said, if they're watching the professionals do it, like Boatsy said to me yesterday, for another guy we just mentioned who's the chairman of Dunkirk, his boy, Charlie's a very good goalkeeper. And they're having hydration breaks already in this country. I mean, so you just go, if we're copying football, this is why it's so important. What we were saying yesterday about FIFA and UEFA, they set the standard with all these decisions, and it filters down to the very bottom of the game. That's
so I'm going to go dinosaur on you for a minute.
Yeah, go on.
Because you were the same era as me.
Yeah.
I used to go down the school fields with a bottle of water between five of us and just play for 4 hours.
Yeah.
And, you know, with all due respect, I weren't dehydrated. No one had to put a drip in me. I didn't nearly pass out or anything. I just played football for hours and hours. I got ginger hair, by the way. I'm getting burnt. Like I was like a lobster by the end of it. But you know, sometimes I go, come on, just be a bit more realistic. We talk about building resilience and firming children and getting them ready for life. And well, okay, well, let's not go too much, start having operation breaks. And all that. That's what I'm saying. It's too far the other way. There's a middle ground.
I was just thinking about something you said there. So my primary school coach for the team was just a teacher, Mr. Jenkins, right, standard 3, and he used to look after the team. And his big thing was, and it sounded like something that he used to go, get yourself up the pitch and get yourself kicked. Yeah. Get a foul. Do you imagine saying that to a kid now? Go and get yourself kicked. Yeah. Win a free kick up the pitch. That's
what stuck in. You're not allowed to say that anymore.
Getting yourself kicked. Yeah. You'd be proud to be fouled. I'm up the pitch now, sir.
I know we're kind of playing with this, and I hope our wonderful listeners are. I'm sort of toying with this. Yeah. Of course, I know that life's changed. Of course, I do.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is there's a middle ground somewhere.
Yeah.
And I know we're going off piece a bit, but these are things we feel strongly about.
Yeah, fans love it. Fans love it.
Well, we talk about it a lot. You know, there's still an underbelly of modern. Well, let's just use football, modern sport. I think.
Yeah.
Who love a tackle, love a competitive team, love like the edge that a team can show.
Yeah.
Well, then take away the things that stop that. Yeah. Take away the diving, take away the feigning of injuries driving me mad.
Yeah.
And the fate of all people who stand for all the right things in theory don't do anything about it.
No.
When they put their heads to each other and something goes down, then they have a Medicon. The Medicon, mate. You know, an eye tester can go, what are you talking about? A broken eyelash. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and then they have a scan on a broken eyelash. I mean, come on, you got to go, come on.
Yes.
Let's give it back some kind of normalcy.
If a kid, well, I barely, but if a kid was a diver, you'd be like pilloried by your mates, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you'd be battered off your own mates.
Get up, and it was all.
I know, and then it puts pressure now on the coach. You got there's some amazing coaches out there, right?
Yeah.
Tim Blake, who used to run Max's little side, right? Gave up loads of time, and loads of his other coaches when I was a kid, when they were kids at Aquaton Harriers.
Yeah.
They give up loads of time. Jim Hoover, I mentioned yesterday at length, my first ever Sunday League manager.
Yeah.
They give up all their time. Give them a bit of support. You know, if kids are diving, they call it out on them.
Yeah.
Back them, the coach and say, come on, that's unacceptable. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't have to be heavy-handed.
Yeah.
You know, little kids, they listen, don't they just say it's unacceptable, that's not what we stand for.
Do you know what we're getting on to? And this is so true. I said this the other day, my missus goes, you sound, and I was like, it's true. I know it sounds honest, I'm not meaning to sound very Sean said, if I had a row in school, there was no way I'd go home and tell my old man and my mother, because they'd go, you must have deserved it. Yeah. The idea of going home, and if a policeman gave you a row in the street before to move on, the idea of going, this policeman, you'd be like, you would keep it silent, wouldn't it? Yeah, wouldn't it? Imagine going up before they go, I got shouted at today. What would they say? Well, what did you do? Well, you know, I did. Well, there we are. What do you expect?
Well, the basic principles of life, and I know life's changing, and we're both parents, you know, so we're not.
Everybody's out there nodding now.
And I'm not saying that we're wonder parents, but I'm not saying every answer. By no means am I going down that road. I'm not judging anyone either.
Yeah.
I'm judging myself and what I see and life.
Yeah.
That's what I'm judging. And some of it is dead simple to change at grassroots level. And when them kids get older, they will be stuck then.
Yeah.
Because they'll be used to it. They'll go, right, it's unacceptable. That's the way it is.
I couldn't
but it does in back to your point, the top has to start taking responsibility. Because the kids copy them. They copy their heroes.
They do.
Do you know what I mean?
There's that really funny.
And if we could get rid of silly dances after a goal, we're on a winner.
Do you know what? There's a brilliant. I think it's a X account or Twitter it's called, and it's got kids. And there was this one guy saying that this kid ran up the side of the pitch after scoring with his hand next to his ears, as if to say, "Can't hear you." And there's nobody there. There's nobody on the side of the pitch. But he's seen it on television and copied it. So that's what kids will do to copy it. And we've got to go to. I really enjoyed this. Go to see John Cushion, who's going to give us an update. He's at the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, of course. John, how are you, pal?
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you. Good afternoon. A morning of medals, Johnny, on day 5. Boxer Lauren Mackey has guaranteed a medal at least because the English bantamweight beat Helen Jones of Wales, in the quarterfinals to reach the semi-finals. It means at least a bronze medal for Lauren. There are 13 other home nation boxers in quarterfinal action this afternoon and evening. We'll keep you up to date with that. Now, I think that lawn bowls, as it was in the Commonwealth Games, it's indoor bowls here, is the curling of the Commonwealth Games. So when everyone goes crazy about the Winter Olympics and curling, we've had loads of medals this morning. Scotland and a double from England in the bowls. 37-year-old Sam Tolchard, who is the world number 11 from Torquay, winning the men's singles. Congratulations to him. Northern Ireland flag bearer Gary Kelly won the bronze. Wales did win the bronze in the mixed para pairs, and across the SEC Centre at the Armadillo in weightlifting, Scotland's Angus Doig also picked up a medal after winning bronze in the men's 88 kilogram weightlifting. I think the medal will be slightly easier for him to pick up Now here at Scotstoun, the Commonwealth nations flags are what they say in Glasgow are blowing a hoolie because you may be hot down there. It's 18 Celsius, it's raining and cloudy here, and it's absolutely throwing it down. So heptathlon world silver medalist Kate O'Connor of Northern Ireland, who is representing her mum's side of the family, has just told me she would have liked to have butt heads with Katarina Johnson-Thompson at these games, but she says she's here to win a world medal, and she leads the heptathlon after 2 events by 4 points ahead of England's Jade O'Dowd, who've got the shot put and 200 metre to come tonight. And across the town in the swimming pool, Philip Nowacki, who of course famously beat Adam Peaty, the Jersey swimmer, in the 100 metres. He's second quickest into the men's 200 metre breaststroke tonight. There is so much going on. I'll try and keep you up to date throughout the afternoon. If you fancy being here, check out Glasgow2026.com. It's a little cooler up here as well. This is the Commonwealth Games. It's live across the talkSPORT network.
Brilliant. Thank you, John. Stay with us, folks. We got talking about goalkeeping. We've got a true goalkeeping great joining us next. David Seaman.
Neutral hat on, right? Remove the fact that I'm Liverpool and you're Chelsea. Just to have one of the best players in the world come to the Premier League when we're so used to losing the best players in the world to La Liga is massive for the Premier League.
It'd be massive, absolutely massive for the Premier League. I totally agree with you. But I think it's you have to look at it through the lens of Arsenal. You have to look at what this means for Arsenal. They're behaving exactly as they should. When you are champions, you come with being champions of England comes with the power. It comes with the opportunity, and they're making the most of it. I think this probably, if this happens, Vinicius Junior landing at Arsenal. Arsenal were already Premier League champions. They were Champions League finalists. They were Champions League semi-finalists last year. You think about the momentum of Arsenal. If he lands at Arsenal and is the missing piece to them winning a European Cup, it immediately becomes money well spent. It probably goes down, what? Off the top of my head here, biggest signing in Premier League history?
Yeah.
When you think about what rivals it, I think you could argue maybe. Do you remember when Pogba went to Manchester United and it was Pog back, Pog back,
that was
and all
big.
that? Stormzy playing a piano on
that was big, but because we'd already had him in the Premier League, it was big. Don't get me wrong, because he went to Juventus and turned into a monster. You're correct, and then came back and it was like, okay, this is a completely different Pogba. He looked almost like a foot taller, a foot wider. He looked.
Also, he'd won 3 leagues in a row, hadn't he, with Antonio Conte? Like he'd been an integral part of
but
3
he was
Scudettos.
never, as good as Paul Pogba was back then, he was never like Ballon d'Or conversation. Paul Pogba.
No,
no one ever said Paul Pogba's.
Yeah, good afternoon. If you've just joined us, Jonny Owen and Sean Dyche here, or if you've been with us all the way through, we've just been talking about the FA implementing a trial to eradicate the goalkeeper tactical timeout. And talking to goalkeepers, one of the greats here, a lovely man, a man I'm just going to mention as well. My wife is Vicky McClure. She does Soccer Aid with David Seaman, and she said he's the nicest man there.
What a goalie as well, by
What a goalkeeper.
What a goal.
Yeah. And he's going to tell us what he is. He's at the Tunnel Barn Fishery in Shrewley at the talkSPORT Stars Fishing Championship. Is that right, David? Is that where you are?
That's right. Yeah, it's we're having a great time. I've caught a few fish already. We just had a little lunch, and you've only got me for a few minutes. So as soon as that klaxon goes off, I'm going. I'm going to get back in.
Yeah, we're just going to chat to Arsenal first, really, David. I mean, they look like they're going to be pretty active in the transfer market. They've had a fantastic season. I mean, they almost had the season of seasons, didn't they? But they really, making a statement by sort of the people they're going after as well.
Yeah, there's speculation. There's loads of speculation always, but it's as Sean knows, it's about getting them over the line. When you actually get these players over the line, then that's when the excitement starts. Because with Arsenal, they're getting linked with all sorts of different players now. There's obviously Trossard's gone now, so he needs to be replaced. But it's about getting them over the line, not just the speculation.
What do you think, mate? From back in your day when you had some fantastic sides you played in, but. Like when the manager, do you think, even though they've won it, I was referencing yesterday the idea of keeping your foot on the gas, and if they can bring in a couple of big players, even if they're not brilliant, as in they literally affect you, the knock-on effect amongst the group when they all sort of raise again, they almost raise their standards again and go hard again. Do you get what I mean? To win it again.
Oh, definitely. We have players like Dennis Bergkamp and then Thierry Henry. Players like that coming into your squad, but a little bit different with Thierry because he was a bit of a slow starter. But like when you sign people like Dennis Bergkamp, it just raises the level of the squad. And even in training, the lads raise their level. You know what it's like, Sean. You want to prove to people. You want to prove to people that are really good. You want to show them how good you are. So that's where that level changes when you get quality players coming in, and that's what hopefully. That's what Arsenal are going to do.
Yeah, I call it in-house competition. It's not just that you've obviously got the competition of a team trying to beat you over a season, but when you've got in-house competitiveness, David will tell you that the training standards rise. Everything rises because the demand. Footballers are very, very instinctively competitive. So if you put something in front of them, they go, well, hang on a minute, we've got a real one here.
Yeah.
They all start wanting to be the top dog again. It just stimulates more growth inside of your own camp.
Yeah.
They all talk about Bergkamp being
especially when it was.
Yeah. Go on, Dave.
No, I was just going to say, especially when you get a player that's in your position as well. That really makes you train a little bit better.
Well, you're all right, mate. No one was as good as you, so it's easy for him. He's go, whatever. Someone else can go, yeah, don't worry about it. I'll be fine. You just keep me warm.
We've just been talking earlier on, David, the English FA are trying to sort of eradicate the goalkeeping tactical timeout. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm totally for that, because it's ridiculous. You don't need that, and it's slowing the game down. It's the tactic that I hate to see. It's the goalkeepers just feigning injury and going down. And there's a time and a place. When we saw in the World Cup, with the hydration breaks, that was like a little bit too much for me, if I'm honest. Let the game flow.
Yeah.
And if you need to get a message on, get the players that are nearest the touchline to pass the message on. You don't need to stop the whole game. So I'm totally for it.
Yeah, I think he's right. Like having managed them sort of scenarios. If the keeper lands, drops on it, just to kill even 4 or 5 seconds, which of course they can't really do now because they've got to get on with it anyway.
Yeah.
But before, I think you'd all accept that. All right, he's caught it, he's landed, everyone, calms down. But we're talking, like Dave was saying, proper, like nothing wrong with you going down, head injuries and all that. I mean, it's awful. They shouldn't be allowed to do it. I mean, look, it's players should take more responsibility because the referee's not a medic. It's not fair on the referee.
No.
They can't, and then the ref gets battered about head injury and they go, well, I can't stop it, just on the never. What happens if it is the Peter Cry-Wolf moment?
Yes.
So we can't, and I agree with David. They've got to eradicate it one way or the other, forgetting about the rights and wrongs, but they need to affect it.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Dave, just going to ask you about the England situation. What's your thoughts on the England goalkeeper? Obviously, there's news today that James Trafford might be leaving Man City for Leeds, but what's your thoughts on England's sort of goalkeeping situation at the moment?
Well, it's not changed a lot, if I'm honest. I know Jordan didn't have the best of tournaments. He had a couple of mistakes, which we're not really used to seeing that with Jordan. Because he's been fantastic for England. And when Dean Henderson came in, he had a great game. I know he let 4 goals in, but he still had a really good game.
Yeah.
It was really good for him because to come in a massive game like that. Okay, people would say but it was a 3rd and 4th place playoff, but he's still in a World Cup, and it was against France. So it was a good test for him, and I thought he coped with that really well. But with James Trafford, he's got to go. He's got to go somewhere. He's got to play games because that's the only way that he's going to be able to push we saw what happened with Aaron Ramsdale when he was at Arsenal, he was pushing and pushing, and then Arsenal bought David Raya, and it all changed. So for England goalkeepers, you have got to be playing. So for me, obviously being a Leeds fan, it'd be a good move.
Plenty of Welsh boys there at the moment as well, David.
Yeah, no, not seen many.
So tell us where you are in this competition and the fish. Are you obviously a keen fisherman?
Yeah. So what it's like a version of fishing. It's like match fishing. So you're catching as many fish as possible and then weighing them for a big total weight. The problem is at the moment the girls are winning. they're really good at the moment, so it's tough to take. And the netball girls as well. So they're very, very. You know what I mean? They can give it as well. They take it.
It's a big charity. It's a big charity thing.
And obviously this is.
Sorry, David, it's a big charity thing as well, isn't it? Which is fantastic. A bit of fun and a bit of enjoyment, but also raising money.
Yeah, it is. It's for Willow. It's for Bob Wilson's charity. And
brilliant. What a fella.
Obviously, Bob was my coach for 15 years.
Yeah.
He's been my best man, and me and my wife Frankie have stepped up as co-presidents with him just to help him because he lost his wife Meg 2 years ago. So. It's a massive charity for us, and we help create special days for seriously those young adults. And that's what this is about. We get a portion of the of what's made, and it really helps. It helps put smiles on people's faces and gives them really good memories, and not just them but their families as well.
Brilliant, David.
Brilliant.
And I just want to say, otherwise she'll kill me. Vicky sends her love to you, and she hopes to see you at Soccer here next season.
Yeah, send her love back. Send my love back to her. Yeah,
enjoy the fishing.
Proper.
Cheers, David. Top man. Good luck, mate. Good luck. Thank you. Now that was a goalkeeper, by the way.
Proper.
For anybody to stay.
Yeah. Don't realise how big he is, until you meet him.
Big man.
The way he could fill the goal.
Yeah.
What a
proper
keeper.
Arsenal legend. We're getting loads
calm
of
as well.
texts.
Super calm.
Lots of love here, Sean, which is great. Going on from yesterday. What does Sean think, just quickly, about a balanced former players panel and retrospective punishment for simulation?
Yeah, they got a sort of a thing like that, but for other decisions.
Yeah.
I think why not? Because if you had a balanced view from referees and from ex-managers, or current managers, if they got time, but the point is that they're going to give a balanced view of the incident and how refs see it and how managers see it.
Yeah.
I just think there's better ways of doing it, and I've been harping on about this for years. Everyone knows I have.
Yeah.
It just drives me mad, and it still does. Why? It needs nothing to do with me winning or losing as a manager. I've had all of that. I'm on about the greater good of the game. I'm about children growing up, diving all over the place and all that. It drives me crackers.
Ask Sean if he's ever had a foul curry. I had a lamb foul once in a curry house on Curry Mile in Manchester. I've been there many times, Russ Orman there. And even my feet were sweating, Sean. I kid you not. That's from Alan.
Yeah, it's good. Shazan in Burnley, when I lived out there for many years. We used to go to Shazan. We went there last week, actually. Sadly, we're at a funeral, but we went there afterwards to see our mate who owns it. And he gave us a foul with the heating and without the heating, and it's still hot without the heat. Honestly, it's a mad dish, that is. It's like Naga. Naga's up there as well.
Great when you heard from Dave in Porter said, "Oi, Dyche, I got a bone to pick with you today. You going on with curry yesterday meant me having a vindaloo last night. My guts are killing me today." Watched 2 years ago during your time at Bristol City.
It's a bit of a myth that, the old guts thing, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a myth thing. It's only because, your stomach's not... Well, if you have a hot one, it's not used to it. You know what I mean? It's not...
Okay, last one before we go to the break. We've got plenty more coming in, so we'll do this. Lads, just got to say what an enlightening change it is to listen to you two on talkSPORT. The usual crew are, of course, brilliant, and they are, but the recent schedule changes because of the World Cup and holidays has brought home some wonderful new pairings, of which you guys are the best. I'm not making this up. Thanks so much for your energy.
Appreciate it.
Because I'm bored at home after an eye operation.
Average at best, I say. Average at best.
One last thing. When you speak to Quillam, please say to him, "Welcome to Biggleswade." He will know what you mean. Many thanks from Paul. Yep, from you guessed it, Biggleswade. Paul, good luck with your recovery as well. Stay with us. We've got loads more to come. We'll be talking about France, we'll be talking about Spain, and we'll be talking about England. International setups. How can England and the home nations catch up?
it's boxing. I said it in the interview the other day. It's heavyweight boxing. He got caught by a fighter who's had 20 knockouts. Yes, albeit Prenga wasn't a hugely recognised name prior to that, but you don't get 20 knockouts, without being able to punch. And that's boxing. And the reality is, as AJ showed, it's getting back up from that and building your way back into the fight and finishing it the way he did. Did I expect that in the first round? No. But he showed his heart, his determination, and everything that's got him to this point in the sport.
Are you into boxing conspiracies?
No, I mean, is Simon Jordan under the desk somewhere?
He's on holiday this week, mate. But I've got his tweet here.
Well, yeah, you've got Simon Jordan. You got the other guy.
Oh yeah, but Paulie Malignaggi was on a little earlier on as well.
Exactly.
He said a very similar thing. So basically, Simon wrote on X, I'm sure people have seen this, that he wasn't having the fight and that something was not quite right, as it was designed to rinse the maximum amount of money. Do you agree?
I mean, did he confirm any more? Has he spoken about it verbally?
I've not personally spoken to him, mate. I don't like to put words in people's mouths off the back of social media. No, I've not spoken to him about it, mate. I'm just going off what he's written on social media.
From what he's written, what he's suggesting is that the fight was in some way, I guess what he's trying to say is fixed.
Yeah.
So you think AJ got knocked down twice to...
Sport.
Good afternoon, I'm Toby Gillis. Maybe the most highly qualified coach ever to be hired by a national team. Zinedine Zidane is now officially the France boss through to the next World Cup. Arguably, the only reason they didn't win the World Cup was their team spirit. Julien Laurent told us Zidane will command a difficult dressing room to come together.
Yeah, I think it's part of it. The relationship that he creates and that he builds with his dressing room, with his players. Obviously, as you said, the player that he was, he walks in, even if he was not a player or the player he was before, he's got so much aura, charisma.
A fresh contract for Josko Gvardiol at Manchester City, ending speculation over his future. He signed a new 5-year deal to stay at the Etihad. Still some doubt over Rodri, and he's started a period of rehab today after what the club calls successful minor surgery on his back. Sticking with new deals, Hannah Hampton has signed a new 2-year contract at Chelsea. As they look at bringing in a couple of cheapies in Danny Welbeck and Jordan Henderson, we keep being told Chelsea are getting away with their huge spending because they're such good sellers. So who's on his way out? talkSPORT's chief football correspondent Alex Crook told us Liam Delap is one who's available, and could Everton be his destination?
I know David Moyes is keen to bolster his attack, not maybe particularly keen on any of the forwards that Everton have got at this moment in time. So I would expect Everton to be back at the table for Liam Delap. There was a little bit of talk about Fulham to me earlier as well, but I think Alvaro Arbeloa is targeting the Spanish market.
Ipswich have signed Union Saint-Gilloise keeper Kjell Scherpen today, and a nice little tweak to the rules at the Commonwealth Games to keep some of the athletics heats fair and competitive. Here's England's Max Bergin after he reached the 800 metres semi-finals by winning his heat, avoiding a risk of missing out as the fastest loser.
Well, I've made an effort to try and stop the people in the call room from seeing the results of this championship, which is something new that I've never seen of, and it certainly alters the way you approach it, I guess. So maybe in a more fair way to the people in the first heats. Yeah, I mean, I went into it not knowing what sort of time you'd have to run.
talkSPORT News.
Andy Burnham says technical education will help get young people back in jobs. And the Tories tell the PM not to allow any serious criminals out of jail early. Sinead has more in half an hour.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. For a limited time only, get 10% off 2 or more selected premium tyres in our big summer sale. Visit quickfit.com and book today. Conditions apply.
Spells of rain for the north today, down as far as northern England. Dry and sunny and pretty hot further south.
Good afternoon. If you've just joined us or if you've been with us, welcome back after the break. It's Jonny Owen with Sean Dyche, just coming up to 4 minutes past 2 on a very warm, sultry day in London. Yesterday we sort of We had a big discussion, me and Sean, and invited you as the audience and the listeners to sort of give us your opinion. You were fantastic. And we were just talking about, Spain, what they've done, the structure they've got in place, the fact that they won famously 2 major tournaments and then have won 2 more recently with a bit of space between them as well, with sort of 15 years. And what they do, what is it that, because as a business, you'd look at another business that was very successful and say, okay, well, what are they doing? That's, this is the logical thing to do. And what are England doing, or the home nations, Wales, Scotland and Ireland, in comparison? And we were very lucky because there was one person we would have loved to have spoken to, and we managed to get him. And I said his name, but Sean says it probably.
Gwilym Balaguer.
Gwilym Balaguer.
I think that's right. He might correct me in a minute, but I've known him a long time. He's great.
And he's fantastic. He's a Spanish journalist and author, very well known. And we can just have a chat about it all. And Gwilym, welcome to the show.
Jonny, Sean, it's Guillem.
Guillem, see, thank you.
No, you said Guillem.
I said Guillem. I was much closer.
He didn't say it properly.
They're nodding that I was much closer. Thank you. Guillem.
All right. I need to get you Welsh.
Yeah, they got a double L like we have. Things, like Lorette.
All right, I'll let you off on that one. Sorry, mate. Sorry, Guillem.
Guillem.
How are you, mate? You all right? Are you well?
Yeah, all good.
Thanks for
I
getting.
only stopped holidays because Sean told me to.
I was just about to thank you and let our listeners know that Guillem is on holiday.
He was very kind.
He did agree to, but we had a big debate yesterday, mate. And me and Gwilym, we've covered many things in football for a lot of years now.
Yeah.
That's why I'm buzzing that you're on, by the way. I trust everything you say about Spanish football and about football. It's very, very clever on football. Anyway.
He is indeed.
So we were discussing yesterday this idea. We're trying to park the England thing. Said, right, okay, what has Spain been doing right for? I roughly threw around about 15 years. I said, what was their changing moment where they went, right? Let's have a look at what we're doing. Now, I'm going to give you some thoughts of mine just quickly before you add on. I'm not going to talk about the structure now. I'm going to talk about the environment being the weather. I know it sounds crazy, but kids' contact time is a lot easier because they're generally, the Spanish weather is much more user-friendly, especially for little dots. You know, it's different with 15, 16. I'm not about little kids.
Yeah.
So you got that. Culturally, always been we're this as well, to be fair, football nation, if you like.
Oh, yeah.
And they're 2 things I think sometimes get overlooked. Contact time is massive.
Yeah.
And freedom to go and play.
Yeah.
And the stimulus of the sun and all them things. Right? I'm not going deep on it, but you get what I'm going with it.
I do, yeah.
So what about that? But then add on more of the technical stuff for us, mate, and a bit of meat on the bone if you can.
Yeah, let me say first, we are the most successful international side of the 21st century.
Yeah.
And want to start there because it seems to have gone on the radar. We've done, we got more success than anybody else. So that explains this conversation. You look at somebody that is so successful, as Jonny said, and then you try to pick things that it could be useful to you. I don't think it can be of any use to anybody apart from us. But I will tell you how we got there in a short way. And I'm very tempted to write a book about it because maybe there is a lesson to be found, but really everyone has to find their own way to get to the top.
Yeah.
In 99, the under-20 national side won the World Cup. That was with Iker Casillas and Xavi Hernandez in the team. And the manager was Iñaki Saez. Iñaki Saez is a Basque coach. Now, let's go on that tangent for a second. Basque coach means that they believe they are just a part of a bigger thing, either in football or in life. So they very traditional. They like to respect authority. They will do. They work really hard. All those things that you relate now to Basque coaches, Iñaki Saez had. And as part of a bigger thing, once he was in the federation and got that success, he got the authority to do a bunch of things in the federation, like selecting players and, as a consequence, coaches that are good because of their intelligence, their technical ability, tactical knowledge, and generally because they understood that they were part of a bigger thing. So ego-free, if you like. With that in mind, he started getting, as I said, coaches like Ginés Menéndez. That means nothing to anybody. But Ginés was replacing Iñaki Saez as head of football in the federation and was the guy that chose Luis de la Fuente to come in. And now, of course, he's gone into bigger things.
Yeah.
But you see the link. They're all getting the same profile of managers. And the players are players that we decided, look, we look around, we're not as tall as English, we're not as fast or strong as Germans. What are we good at? We got a lot of technical ability. And why is that? And you have to take a step back. You go to a park where we played as kids, and what you see is people dribbling, passing, 1-2s, a lot of things, mini rondos, mini piggies in the middle, a lot of things that you don't relate to football as kids in England, perhaps. In England, it's more about, I don't know, the tackle, the scoring, all the priorities. So it was a very good link between what the Federation and Iñaki Sáez and Ginés Menéndez and now Luis de la Fuente have been doing to the essence of what we understand football should be or should be played, or what really gives us pleasure, which is first and foremost, I think, passing. So on the back of that, the Federation continued, but it's never a straight line. Iñaki Sáez became the national coach of Spain in until 2004 for 2 or 3 years, and he failed dramatically. So he wasn't the guy for it. And then we got Luis Aragonés, who you don't relate to the Federation, but he's a rules breaker. And what he did was, no Raúl, remember him, the player of Real Madrid, no Raúl, what are we good at? Passing. Well, let's just get Xavi and players like that into the team. And that made us win 2008. After winning, it's easier to continue a path. But again, after winning 2008, 10 and 12, we got lost in our way. We thought that and Sean will recognize this, that the more you win, the more difficult it is to keep winning, because you stop doing the things that you win, that makes you win. So we stopped doing the things that made us win. So, but we recovered it. So this is a mini short story of why Spain have been succeeding, and it's all down to an idea planted, a seed planted at the turn of the century.
But to be honest, mate, so I'm going to go in reverse order. So I'm watching this Spanish side win this in a very business-like manner. And that's a big compliment. I don't mean that sounds like a sort of negative. It's a big compliment because, of course, they got some very good players. But look at the centre-forward. He's like a 30-year-old centre-forward. He's not scoring loads, but his awareness and his understanding of what the team needed and what the game needs.
Yeah.
Different class. You know, these are the things that managers and coaches notice. And the structure of them, mate, the organisation, you know, on transition, the wide men popping out, press, get back in. You know, the basic principles of what they do. I remember Pep's side at Barcelona, the best one I saw with Puyol and all that. They used to drive up the pitch, they used to squeeze, they used to press the hard yards, and then they'd play.
Yeah.
So they've done that in that way, where they haven't come away from the basic principles of what football needs. They've just added on to it, I think, with their fluid play and some of their fluid players, but they still ask them to do the job.
Yeah.
You know, like Rodri, you fly out and then he gets back in. And he, you know, in all these press and recover, I call it, you know, and they do it so diligently. And so there's a belief in that. But going back, the point I'm making is that kind of discipline and organisation comes from a sequence of events. And you started, I think this is right, with the Basque coaches and what they stood for. Yeah. And do you know what the first words out of his mouth were? Hard work, respect, intelligence. They weren't like tactical genius. They weren't like going, oh, you know, brilliant. They understood the meat on the bone of being a successful player and a coach and a manager and, of course, a team.
Yes.
And I think we sometimes lose sight of that in England. I think we do. I think we've gone too far the other way. It used to be the old British Bulldog spirit, and that wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Then we've gone too far the other way. Now it's all technical. And you go, well, hang on, there's a marriage in there somewhere.
Yes.
That's really
You've lost your identity, a bit like Germany. And it's really interesting what you just said, Guilherme, for our younger audience. And I couldn't agree more what you said. Spain was so famous for sort of going to tournaments and underperforming, weren't they? So this sea change was huge to win like 4 major tournaments, like I said, in the 21st century. This wasn't the Spain that I grew up with as a kid. Spain would always sort of fail really at tournaments, wouldn't they?
Yes, and by failing, it created a mental blockage that was pulled down completely with one penalty. Penalty shootout, 2008, quarterfinals, against Italy. And that was our limit. That was our glass ceiling. And then Cesc Fabregas grabs the ball for the 5th penalty. He's never, ever taken a penalty in his life. And that penalty, if he converts it, we go into the semi-finals of the European Championships, and we guess there will be a release of pressure. The goal goes in, the penalty goes in, and then all of a sudden we think, do you know what? We can beat anybody. We beat Italy, which was our black beast, we call it, you know, the team that also will beat us. Now we're able to do anything. And then we won the Euros. And going to 2010 was a group of players that thought, we're coming to win the World Cup. That had never, ever been heard in Spain. It was a lot of, there's names that made us dream, managers that talk the talk, but the players went like quietly, we're coming to win the World Cup. And in 2012, we're the same. And to be honest, they had found a formula, which is the similar formula to now. We found the formula. You know what? If you keep the ball, the rival doesn't have it. So we defend with the ball and we attack with the ball. And we were so boring in 2012. But nobody could beat us.
Mate, can I interrupt and ask you a big favour? We've got to go to break, but I'm loving what you're telling people and our listeners. Is that okay? Can you just hang on for us? I know you're on holiday, but I've done you a couple of favours in the past, free gratis. So come on, just jump on the grenade for a minute. All right, is that okay?
Happy to.
Thanks, mate. Brilliant.
Thank you, Guilherme. Listen, we'll be overall with messages. We'll be back as soon as we can.
What do you make of the noise over the last 24 hours that Jordan Henderson and Danny Welbeck are being heavily linked as to be players for Chelsea this season?
I can see the reason and why. I can see why, Alonso done it when he was at Leverkusen. He brought Xhaka in. He had a few, older heads to play with, a lot of the youngsters, what he had in and around the squad to help him, because that's what they do. The older players help the coach, the manager, because they can see it. They've been there, they've done it. And I can see why, Danny obviously had a great season last season, very unlucky not to get the call up to the England squad. Jordan, obviously, a freak accident at the World Cup. And probably because I think, when you look at Jordan, everyone sort of forgets that he was Liverpool captain, won the title with Liverpool, played all them games for Liverpool, and you don't do that and play at a top level club like that if you're not a top level player. So again, you can see he's got he buys into an environment, he buys into what you want, and as a manager, you can't nothing. You've got nothing but love for that, because you need your players to buy in, and if he's buying into it and they see it, young players go with them lads who've been there and done it, and when he's got the experience of getting over the line in them moments as well, there's nothing better when you're in them, and I think that's where Chelsea have got to, because they've been a bit up and down.
Jonny Owen and Sean Dyche here. We're going to dive straight back into it because we're getting so many messages about it. Delighted. I'm very lucky to have Guilherme Balaguer, yes, on the show with us, talking about Spanish football. Nobody better to talk about. And Guilherme, I just want to touch what you said, something very interesting to me. It was once described as sort of the way the Spanish play, especially with like death by 1,000 cuts, the way they keep the ball. The French couldn't get the ball off them, and once they go in front, it's almost impossible to beat this current team. I kind of agree with that. And you said something. You says like you almost bored them with winning. I can say to you honestly, as a Welshman, I've never got bored of any win of any kind. I will take any win, and I just think that's really important that will Spain win, and they've got that winning mentality. Like I said, they broke a barrier when they famously won a game against Italy, who was sort of always the team that they sort of couldn't get past. And then that moment, and we were talking yesterday about England, for instance. England need to break a barrier by winning a major tournament. They've got very close, in the Euros. But that breaking a barrier does kind of change everything, doesn't it?
It does. I would love to talk about England. Just very quickly, let me say one thing about it. England are in a successful era.
Yes, I agree.
It's just that because I haven't gone to the last thing, but I'm sorry, we were better than England in the Euros. We were better than England in this World Cup. And Argentina, they competed better. So there is no divine right to win just because you're England.
No.
But it is a successful era. And it just needs that extra step. And it's not easy to find it because, as I said, there is other teams that have got a longer way doing that. Be it Argentina, which is another interesting story as well, done differently, and Spain. Because, yes, we bored everyone in 2012. But what happened since, of course, is that with the same philosophy, which is to create the federation converted into a club with everybody sharing the same idea, coaches and players, that is very, very hard to beat as well. And what happens is, yes, of course, we can pass the ball to death if we want to. But guess what? Because we've been doing it for a while, we've got all the layers as well. So in 2024, we won the Euros by actually attacking down the wings with transition. And we've added pressure high, and we're the best at it. Because we know that if we have to defend in our own box, basically we're going to be beaten.
Yeah,
so all those things put together is what brings that little step of that takes you to success.
I think a big noticeable factor in this one, I spoke really quickly after a few of your games, subtle change, but they will go longer now. The keeper will kick it and sort of in old money clear his lines. They will, do you know what I mean? They will mix the play more than the Spain that I've seen over the last sort of 10 or 15 years, you know. Now that, by the way, I'm talking really small things here. It's not apparent. I'm not remotely saying they're cracking the ball down the pitch because they're not.
No.
What I'm saying is, if they need to, they will.
Yeah.
You know, they will lift it behind. They've got pace on the wide. They can get them running down the, driving after teams by just clipping one over the top. So why wouldn't you use it? Especially when you've got someone with the passing ability of Rodri.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got wing mirrors on his head. You can't get the ball off him. He sees everything, that fella.
Yeah.
So, if you've got that in your locker, and as soon as he opens up like a quarterback, as I always use the reference point, once he opens up like that, why wouldn't you drive him behind teams? But I think they've added that as well as the brilliant play, as well as controlling games in possession.
Yes.
They can also affect you with rapid play and transition play. And I think that's a big shift in how they're doing things.
And Guillem just said something very interesting that my English friend said after the final. He said, after the final was a bit therapeutic. He said, because Spain are the best team in that tournament.
Yeah,
and he was right. Spain have been the best team in that World Cup.
They went a little bit under the radar. I think, Guillem, did you feel that? I think Spain, this was a rare tournament over the last...
Because the start, the nil-nil draw.
It sort of helped them in a weird way, because everyone went, whoa.
Yeah.
And I loved it when they beat the next game. I forgot who it was. I forgot him yesterday as well. The second game, Guillem, when they won the 3-0, and they just wiped the floor with them. And I thought they just walked up, clapped the fans, and walked off. And I thought, well, these mean business.
Yeah.
I know that sounds mad, like I'm the Oracle, but it just felt that like they mean business. Sorry, mate. Yeah, go on.
No, I was going to say I got a bit annoyed at first about the under the radar attack, just because weren't you watching? We were the best team from game two.
All right, cool, you Jets. All right, we haven't got
no,
before
no,
you, my mate.
I didn't mean you. I meant in general. The amount of people that told me about that. But isn't that part of the problem? That people do not identify a winning football side or a winning style, and they just get blinded by the shyness of the big stars.
Yeah.
And if we just focus on it, be it Jude Bellingham, Harry Kane, and then forget some of the things that make a team a winning side, perhaps that influences decisions as well. So we don't have a superstar. Lamine Yamal will become so, and he was treated like a superstar, but on the pitch, he didn't have the physique for it. So it was the team that succeeded. That's why he went under the radar, because it was a team winning. But who is the main star? Nobody, just the team.
Different class.
Oh, okay. So I'm telling you, on the back of that, the televisions and the people that were covering the World Cup didn't have much time for Spain, because what are you going to focus on?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I know ITV, for instance, had in the Spain-France, Patrick Vieira. It was all about France failing, not a lot about Spain winning.
Yeah.
So I just wonder if that goes a little bit deep, as I said, and it just becomes what people are looking into football, including the players in the streets as well, being the superstar instead of being the team player, which makes a difference at this level.
That's great.
Do you know what, Guillem? It's been brilliant having you on.
Superb, mate. Thank you for your
Do you know what? Thank you, and that's great, because it was all about the team. It's been the team with the star. It's a great point.
All we heard about from other teams were the individuals.
With the individuals, Mbappe, with Messi, whatever. But it was about, and he's right. It was Rodri was for us, but it was a team. Guillaume, thank you very much for joining us. You've been honestly the amount of love for you we're getting is amazing, and you enjoy your holiday. We really appreciate it.
Look forward to seeing you again, mate.
Thank you, Guillaume.
Take care.
Cheers, mate. What a brilliant.
Brilliant. Yeah, superb. He's always, whenever I've spoken to him down these years, he's always had a great view of.
And he's just given some of me. The star of Spain was the team.
Yeah, I know. And sometimes, we can wrap it all up, with all these things and tactical genius and all that. And he's just encapsulated what it is to be a real team. And they showed it. Let's have it right. They showed it.
It's a very, very good point. Okay, time now for our first race of the day at glorious Goodwood, the Vintage Stakes. Let's hand you over to our brilliant commentary team. I love these two, Rupert Bell and Lizzie Kelly.
Well, welcome to Goodwood. Yes, it's an absolute glorious afternoon here for day one. A sort of gentle buzz around the place. So it's not going to be the biggest crowd of the week. This is, I suppose, a day for the purists. We've had one race so far. El Ali was a well-backed 11-2 joint favourite to win that for William Buick. But he's, though, on the favourite William Buick, Al Hudaiba, Lizzie, and this 2-year-old, a bit quirky, but talented.
Yeah, really talented. Was a Group 2 winner of the Superlative Stakes at Newmarket. To me, he looked like he won ugly. Like he only just got up on the line. Pikachu, who also is in this, he was third on that occasion. I thought that he ran a blinder on that day, and Pikachu, because he's the only horse, he's the only horse in here who's actually not won a race, and he's getting £3 from Al Hudaiba. So that's certainly quite interesting, I think.
Well, there's an Aidan O'Brien. He's got, obviously, Scandinavia running in our big one, but has got Hafner here, but his horse is running under a bit of a cloud at the moment, not running as well as we expect his horses to run. And Joseph O'Brien, son of Aidan, has got Ruler's Control. He's having an amazing run, and Ruler's Control looks to be the last of the 6 runners. Al Hudaiba is the favourite. Just seeing one of these 2-year-olds who was getting a little unruly. They're all calm enough, actually picking away, wanting to get going is Pikachu. And they're all set then. 7 furlongs is the trip for this Vintage Stakes, and Hafner is booted up to get into a strong position, and tucking in behind them is Ruler's Control, and under a restraint early on is the William Buick ridden Al Hudaiba, but now settling down and picking up to a speed of around about 36 miles an hour, so a good pace. We've got Pikachu leading them away. It's probably a length up from Dr. Rascal in second, then Hafner on the outside of that one as they make the first turn. Al Hudaiba is in fourth, then being restrained is Ruler's Control, and undiscovered is the back marker of the 6, as they've got about 4 furlongs to go as they make the turn towards the home straight here. It's downhill at the moment here at this splendid, picturesque Goodwood racecourse. As leading them is Pikachu, half a length up now. Hafner getting a little closer with Ryan Moore. In third is the Kaya Fraser ridden Dr. Rascal coming along the rails, then tucked in behind that one is Ruler's Control, and the back marker still is undiscovered, but Al Hudaiba is now trying to get nearer the leaders, is moving up into third spot as Pikachu is driven out by David Egan. Ryan Moore gets to work on Hafner, switching to the far side. Dr. Rascal looking for a run through. Al Hudaiba, it doesn't seem to be enjoying himself. It's one pace with a furlong to go. Hafner, Dr. Rascal on the far side. It's a battle now between Hafner. Here comes Al Hudaiba, who has started to run on in the closing stages, but Dr. Rascal is finding just a little bit more and has won a big moment for Kaya Fraser, a jockey starting to make increasing impressions, and there was an example of his talent. He comes through on the far side, and he's cheekily, Lizzie, waving his whip with about, well, a few yards to go as Dr. Rascal wins it for Oliver Cole. Looks as if Hafner is in second and Al Hudaiba was in third.
Yeah, fantastic performance, but I think Kaya Fraser deserves a lot of credit. He made the best use of that cutaway that he could. Obviously, it meant that there's a little bit more room just on the inside of the rail, and he was absolutely adamant that that was going to be his spot. In fact, Pikachu was perhaps a little bit interfered with as a result of that, but was well beaten anyway. But it was he'd set his stall out so early that was what he wanted to do. That was the place he wanted to get to. And, you know, with these young horses with not a huge amount of experience, having that rail beside them is a big, big help.
Yeah, a bit of a barging match for Dr. Rascal to get past Pikachu. You could see Kaya Fraser just sort of wanted to get that gap, and he got it. And what a big moment for him. He's been riding plenty of winners of late. As I say, one of the emerging stars of the weighing room, and he proved his talent there. But Hafner, well, a bit disappointing. The Aidan O'Brien worries continue, and Al Hudaiba never was caught one post, I think.
He just wants further, I think, and that's what I felt at Newmarket last time. Like, he won ugly and he just about managed to get up, and I wondered whether it was just the ride that day, but I think he just needs a little bit further. He was staying on the whole way up the straight. He just, as they like to say, ran out of real estate.
Well, it was Dr. Rascal. He looked a bit of a rascal in the final stages, but a tidy winner at 13-2.
Yes, Racing TV is the only channel showing every race live from the Qatar Goodwood Festival and Galway Festival this week. talkSPORT listeners can enjoy a free 1-month trial of the channel. Head to racingtv.com/free trial now. Terms apply.
Chaps, how are you?
We're good, man. How you doing today?
Morning,
You all right?
Jeff.
You well?
I'm all right. Goldstein, are you on the wind-up with this Kane to Chelsea thing?
Well, no. I asked I never said it. I asked the question.
Yeah, you done it on purpose, so I'd ring up, didn't you?
Sol Campbell went to Arsenal, didn't he?
No, I knew you was going to come
Tevez
up
went to
with
Man
that.
City. It happens. Definitely happens.
Listen. Kane is proper Tottenham. Don't you know that? Don't you know that?
I know he's proper I know that. I don't think he would do that.
Of course he wouldn't. So why are you talking about it and winding me up
Jeff,
for?
Let me ask you this. Jeff.
I've been working all night on a night shift, right? I'm going home, right? I was all chilled out and relaxed, looking forward to going home.
Now you're all bitter and twisted.
Sorry, Jeff. Sorry.
And now I switched, right? And now you're winding me up with this. I'll tell you what, if Kane goes to Chelsea, I'll do anything you say. Anything you want.
Well, that sounds weird.
Anything.
I mean, I would.
No.
There's nothing I would say.
No, if you want me to put an Arsenal shirt on the one down Tottenham High Road, I'll do it, right? I'm proper Tottenham. I was born in Park Lane behind the ground, right? From a baby till I was 17, right? My boy works there as a development coach, and I've worked there on and off, right, in different capacities. I'm telling you now, I don't even know why you even bother wasting time talking about this subject.
All right, if he goes to Chelsea, we get a Chelsea tattoo. We get a Chelsea tattoo if he goes.
Oh, that's a good shout.
They've even got the music. I was just saying to Sean, it's Jonny Owen here and Sean Dyche. If you've just joined us, you can have really in-depth conversations about the state of sort of European football. You know, talk about Spain with Guilherme and stuff. But people love Sean Dyche. Dice, where we roll a dice and we ask you what's your favourite food.
I know, it's mad, isn't it? It's a bit of I go, really? And yeah, everyone loves it. They keep telling me, I love it when you did that.
Also, I tell you who loves it, the social media guys, because you always go viral with something you say.
I know, yeah.
This is the bit they must wait for.
That must be buzzing. That it's so easy. Just makes our day so much easier.
Yeah. Okay, let's roll the dice.
Number 3. 3 policies you would bring in if made the Prime Minister.
Oh, really?
Yeah, free beer.
Yeah, well, good point. All right, let's keep it light.
Free curry.
Yeah, curry mandatory in all schools. Let's bring them up right.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Policies, Johnny. Where's that live?
I would definitely cut the loads of tax off beer and drink and get people back to pubs.
Or just off all the amounts I've paid. I mean, that. You mean, if that's I'll put my lump in.
Yes, yeah. And I would make it law that Wales are allowed to qualify for every major tournament from now on.
No, it's the pause there, didn't I? So I paused. My pause said it all. Sometimes it's best when you say nothing at all. I don't know. I'm not really that bothered with politics, to be fair.
No, you're not.
I am.
You're very.
That's not fair. I am, but I mean, not as obviously as everyone else. I'm not going to start campaigning and backing everyone. they put something about me following a party online. I think that's out of order. I think that's bang out of order. They shouldn't be allowed to do
AI, that. Mate.
I know.
It's naughty.
Oh, let's quickly just. I know I'm going off the question, but I think this will be interesting for our listeners. So I was a Nottingham Forest manager, as you know. I did an interview, and it was it was an AI interview, and a big outlet picked up and ran the interview.
Oh, yeah,
and it was
remember that?
AI. And I'm getting battered off fans for an AI interview. I hadn't even said anything. I hadn't even done anything. That can't be right, can it?
That's naughty.
That is naughty, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd make a policy against
there we
AI.
Are. AI. Ban AI.
Even though it's the future, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but there's a little insight for you.
Yeah.
I meant to say that.
I remember it.
I mean, that is bizarre.
Yeah,
I was getting hammered at the time, and I go, what are you hammering me for? I didn't even do the interview.
I didn't even say anything.
Yeah, getting absolutely battered. And I'm going, come on, give me a chance. And you'd have to go out there, and then you're clearing up something that you shouldn't have to clear up because you never even said it.
I remember once when...
Someone's actually offering someone's actually an online agent, a company now, promoting me as being an agent for me for speaking. I keep emailing them, why are you doing that? Nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
And it's like an algorithm.
Yeah.
But it's an actual company. And I'm going, what is that all about? Can't get in touch with anyone at this company. But anyway, they keep promoting it.
I remember once, just quickly, Forest lost to Reading, and poor Brian Yates handed the ball on the line instinctively, and he got sent off. And this is the days of Chris. And bless him, was having was a good man, but he just couldn't get it going.
Yeah.
And I was coming back to London. I was doing talkSPORT, and I was walking back to my flat, and I looked and I see the light on. I thought, it's strange. And I'd been burgled, right? And it was a rainy night. Somebody comes and knocks some wood, and the wind was howling. And your mates send you things, like they send you screen grabs. And somebody put on social media, and it went viral. It went, Forest lose again, 3-1. What exactly does Jonny Owen do on that board? I was like, what are you attracted me for?
What do you do? I right back. I died you place right back, kid.
I was a guy. I only wish I was Lionel Messi, that I could go on and play. Do you know what I mean?
No,
but you just go. Sometimes when you get battered, people are just angry and want to just shout. I get it. I don't mind. It's part of the job.
I said, people hating on me. I go, fine, I can take it.
Getting a lot of love since you've been on your mates.
No. I mean, on socials, because people say to me, you see some of the comments. I don't read every comment. And if they're hating on me, I go, well, at least you're not hating on someone else.
Exactly.
So I'll jump on the grenade for that.
Somebody said...
Anyway, what's the next roll of the dice?
Next roll of the dice.
I haven't really answered.
Because Alan Thompson's just messaged, say he's loving this, you're on fire. The ex-player.
Yeah, no, what a guy. Good player, by the way.
Good player.
Tough boy.
Good player.
Yeah.
And Michael Dunn has just messaged, I've got to say this. Great show, as per lad. Can you tell Stone to shop? I'm really starting to like him.
Oh, no, we can't do that. We can't turn the haters into likers. Can't do that.
So what's happening? Roll the dice.
Number 5. What career would you have if you weren't a football manager?
Ooh, a poor one. I don't know. You know, I was that kid. I know this is going to sound so obvious, but you know, in our day, like kids nowadays, but there's a generation out there of our listeners who definitely will understand. You used to have a careers officer, didn't you?
Yeah.
Used to meet you, and I was that kid who went, "Yeah, I can be a footballer." And they go,
Did you? Good lad.
"Yeah, the chances of that are very, very slim." And they do all that talk, and I'd just look at them deadpan and go, "Yeah, I'm going to be a footballer."
Yeah.
Again, yeah, but your chances, I go, "Yeah, I'm going to be a footballer."
Yeah.
And it sounds ridiculous and naive. So no, actually, I must say, the first time when I thought, "Oh, this ain't working out," when I broke my leg at 17, and then my big mate Steve Stone, who was my coach, he broke his 4 days later, which is a weird phenomenon anyway. And I did think, "Oh, what's good? You know, where am I going with this now?" And then you start thinking about playing non-league and that. You know, you think, well, I can still play. You know, 'cause I was recovering from my broken leg, but you do question your profession. You know, your actual big career. You think, "Oh, this, I'm under pressure here." You know, you get a broken leg at 17.
Well, luckily for football, Sean, you stayed with it.
Or unluckily for some. No, you know what I mean, though.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that was probably I maybe so I'd like to think I could have done something around sport, maybe a sports teacher or something like that. You know, something around.
I would have been a teacher, history teacher.
Yeah, oh no, you're super bright.
I would have loved to
bright
be
as midnight.
I would like to have been a history teacher. That'd have done me.
No, that's fair. That's fair. But yeah, probably that. I would have gone some way down the coaching, stroke teaching sort of.
You'd have been good, mate. Okay, roll the dice.
Number 6. Top 3 places or situations to have a pint.
Well, Curry's probably with the lads and my mates, my Kettering lads back home, and Johnny, of course, and when we get together and all them sort of dudes, I do like that. So that's certainly one. It's very close to this because a gig. Oh, it's nothing better than having a few beers at a gig.
Yeah.
What a feeling that, especially when you're watching someone who you bang on into. You know what I mean? Love that.
And that airport pint that's going on holidays and with the boys. Or
Yeah, but I don't do that one.
Do you not?
Well, because people film you and that. They go, "Look at him, the pint at 6 a.m. You know, they start making stories of that like you're a wrong un. Which I am. I mean, don't need any stories, as you know.
It doesn't need to confirm it.
Do you know what? The only time I've ever done that was on a stag do. I don't really do that first thing in the morning thing. Just normally. I don't do it. It's just a weird thing. I think, why? I wouldn't do that on my normal.
I love. As you know, I
Don't
love.
judge, I don't
I love a
judge
local
myself.
pint in your local. I've got the
You're
same mates since I
really
was a
like
kid.
that, though,
I know, yeah. I got the same mates since I was a kid, as you know. You know them all now. Alex.
Do you
and
know?
Ozzy.
I tell you,
and I like a pint with them.
I tell you the one I don't. Well, I enjoy a pint with them guys.
Yeah.
They're great guys. I tell you what I don't like. I'm going to give you a don't like one. So I think people will hopefully register this and believe in it, and they'll feel the same. What about when you've got yourself built up to that pint?
Yeah.
And they haven't got it. I went in a curry house in Manchester, right, with a couple of mates, Nick Cox, who's at Everton now, and Big Dave Hughes. They were at Everton, both of them. So I was doing a talk up there. I said, "Will you come over and have a curry?" So when it was a curry house, they had a Cobra draft tap with no Cobra.
Oh, torture!
And I was raging because I was ready for it. You know, and you go, because I've been doing a big talk in the afternoon for Kevin Sinfield and a company. It was really good. I really enjoyed it, actually. And I went to this thing, and I was, really done my work, and I put a few hours in. I'm really looking forward to it. And I went, "Oh, Cobra, brilliant." They went, no, it's off.
Oh.
Didn't have a bottle of it. In an Indian restaurant, I was screwing.
Torture.
I was properly screwing. That is torture, yeah. So there you go. I don't know if it's an answer question, but we sort of played around with it.
There you go.
Let's go again. Come on.
Roll the dice.
I'm enjoying
it.
now.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Number 2. Dream club to manage.
Oh, I know this. Man United.
Man United, and it's not because I've never been a fan of it. It's just a massive.
You end up sounding like Roy Keane. It's Man United. You know,
Man United.
United. You play Manchester United. Yeah, I do. For me as well. If you're on the board somewhere, and you could be on the board anyway, it is Manchester United. Or Liverpool, those great clubs.
The growth in it under Sir Alex.
Yeah, they're great clubs.
Now, don't get me wrong, it's a massively difficult job. But just to have a chance, the size of that, you know what I mean? And worldwide power of it, you know what I mean? So that's it. And I've always enjoyed going there, and I've always enjoyed the results that I've had. Well, relative to the teams I've managed. It's not easy there, obviously, but I've had some really big results and important.
And you have, Burnley.
Fans are always all right with me there.
Everton, Everton.
All right with me there.
Managed some great clubs like Forest, great clubs.
No, great clubs.
Do you know what I mean?
Brilliant clubs.
Great clubs. I'd like to, when I as I get older, I would definitely like to do more with Merthyr Town as well. Go back to, do more. I do stuff anyway, like sponsor, but help, behind the scenes.
I do little bits for Kettering Town. But
there we go. And we've just mentioned Merthyr and Kettering Town, as we do every show. And we are going to go there and do some Q&A.
In a double.
Okay, roll the dice.
Number 4. Could you go on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here?
Honestly, I'm going to do that Stephen Redgrave thing.
Yeah.
Like, if you see me near a canoe, you'd have to...
Shoot me,
no, well, he said something a bit more harsh than that,
Okay.
There was another word in there, but basically. I just can't see it.
No.
I don't watch any of that stuff.
Not me.
It's not like...
It's not for me. And it's okay, but it's not for me. You crack on.
Hey, it's not right, but it's okay.
It's okay.
As the song says.
No, I'm not going to
judging.
I'm not going to be a big fan of soaps, music.
Love Island, I can't get my head around it.
Yeah,
I just can't get my head around it.
That's okay. But my missus loves it.
And I must say, the jungle thing, like, I love Ant and Dec. I played golf with them years ago.
Funny
brilliant
lads.
Company, brilliant company.
Not for me.
Guys. I know.
No, I'm saying.
I love Harry. I love Harry Redknapp. And he's got loads of stories, and he gets as much work out of that than what he's ever got in his life.
Yeah. I like football.
I know.
I like
documentaries.
I like documentaries.
Box sets.
Yeah, box sets.
I'm looking forward to the
talkSPORT in the background.
Out soon. We talked about that yesterday.
Yeah.
Documentaries, history, and all that sort of stuff. Football stuff and sport in general, but especially football.
And it's great. That's football is like my thing, and that's
it's just not for me. I have a couple of people who reached out, like agents now. Would you do Strictly? And that way I've got. You have seen me. You have seen me.
You can't cut a shape. You can't cut a shape.
You would be surprised.
Yeah, they would. That would be funny. He does a brilliant Tina Turner. You may laugh, but he does a very good Tina Turner. Have we got one time for one more? Yeah, go on. They love this.
God.
Number 1. One thing you couldn't live without.
Well, not the deep stuff. I'm not going to go kids and all that, because it's too deep, all that. Do you know, I'm going to say something really sad now, and I'm going to hold my hands up, and I think we're probably all guilty of it. Probably your phone, but not because it's a phone, and not because of any angle of watching things and all that. Just because it's like my brain now.
Yeah.
Like if I'm in trouble, I could just put notes in my phone and that. Do you know what I mean? Rather than write them down. So to not have a phone would be a. Oh.
Do you know? I'm just gonna say something, and Sean's gonna roar laughing, but I mean this. Well, do you know what I couldn't live without? And watch him laugh. Bread.
That's
I couldn't give up bread.
I'm going to tell our wonderful listeners whenever I go out with Johnny, right, no matter where we are, no matter what level of restaurant, or anything at all, have you got any bread? Like almost desperation. Look on his face, like he's going to malnourished. Sorry.
It's a Welsh thing somebody says to me. I don't know if it's true.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's Saturday Fight Night Live. I enjoyed that, Sean. Well done. From Dublin this Saturday, Piers O'Leary and Mark Chamberlain headline at the 3 Arena as O'Leary puts his WBO World Super Lightweight title on the line in his first defence. Join the Zone Ultimate for 185 plus fight nights and a 12 plus pay-per-view every year. God, trying to say that with these teeth, Sean. What's this now, Sean? Help me with this. With Itoma versus Hogovic and Garcia versus Ben. Am I all right with that? I'm getting loads of nods here. Included at no extra cost.
Boxing update on talkSPORT with DAZN, the global home of boxing. Sign up now at dazn.com/boxing.
The Vinny Junior situation is interesting because I think when it came out of the weekend that Arsenal were keen, we all thought, well, how can they do that deal? He's on 400 grand a week. He'd smash Arsenal's pay structure. Yeah. Real Madrid, even though he's stalling on signing a new contract, are going to want a 6-figure sum. But if they sign Diamande, as looks likely, how do the two fit into the same team? And I think what's really interesting here, and Ben Jacobs, I think, has mentioned this a couple of times, they've got the same agent, Vinicius Junior and Yan Diamande. So would his agency take Diamande to Real Madrid knowing that he's going to compete with Vinicius Junior? I don't think Vinicius Junior to Arsenal is as fanciful as maybe it first appeared.
Now, when you look at Arsenal, they probably would. They've just got rid of Trossard.
Yeah, Trossard's gone.
Trossard's gone. So that's a space needs, and they've only got Martinelli on that left hand side. So they do need somebody else. Who is that person that's going to be able to fill in that space for them? Because there's not a large selection around the world, is there, Quickie?
No, I thought it would be Morgan Rogers, to be honest. I thought that deal would get done. I know he met Mikel Arteta even before jetting out to the World Cup, and Arteta had made him a top target, but fair play, Chelsea came in and gazumped them. I'm not sure Arsenal would have paid £117 million anyway, but clearly they have got a hole in the squad. As you say, they've let Trossard go for a relatively modest sum, really, £17 million for a player who I think he scored some key goals, particularly last season. Seems a little bit on the cheap side, but I think they're going to do something sensational, and it could well be that Vinicius Junior is the man, because you're right, there's not an endless list, is there, of left-sided players.
Jonny Owen and Sean Dyche here, and we are going to now skip up to John Cushion, who's in the magnificent city of Glasgow, who are, of course, hosting the Commonwealth Games. John, how's it going?
Yeah, well, England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland have all guaranteed medals in the boxing this lunchtime. Lauren Mackey from Northampton into the semis of the bantamweight. The referee stopped Caitlin Rainey's win in the welterweight contest quarter-final. She now faces Casey Rock of Northern Ireland in the last four. And just in the last few minutes, Wales's heavyweight Connor Williams has just won his quarter-final too as well. All those guaranteed a medal. They will, of course, fight for silver and gold, hopefully. England's Ellis Trowbridge, though, did lose his men's bantamweight clash, the son of Duke Mackenzie. England's Luke Whitehouse has his third Commonwealth Games medal of Glasgow 2026, his second silver, this time in the men's vault in the gymnastics. And England have won two golds, easy for me to say. England have won two golds in the bowls, there we go. Scotland gold in the mixed para bowls. Wales and Northern Ireland also getting bronze medals. It has been medals galore today. You can see it at glasgow2026.com. That's where tickets are still available. This is the Commonwealth Games, and it's live across the talkSPORT network.
Thank you, John. Connor Williams, Welsh heavyweight. Go on, son. Go on.
Fair play.
Yes. Anyway, talking about Wales, England, all the stuff we mentioned about home nations, and we would let's get somebody on who could talk about what England are doing, because I'm sure there's people out there going, actually, we have got this in place and we're really trying and implement this, and we're very lucky to have a good mate and a good friend of the show, Adrian Bevington. He's got former FA chief here. Adrian, welcome to the show.
Johnny, Sean, how you doing, guys?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Very good, mate, very good. Just to have a chat, just to give you the floor, really. I mean, you were there. I mean, England are trying their best to sort of finally do this thing and win a major tournament. And, in your experience, what was it like working there?
Well, I think things have moved on dramatically since then, to be fair, because the progress that's been made over the past 7 or 8 years. And I do think that, Gareth Southgate in particular deserves a significant amount of praise for that, because the cultural sort of reboot that he did with England. Look, we've had a lot of good players during the time that I worked there, and we had the near misses with penalty shootouts and in quarterfinals, and it's really exciting. But I don't think anyone can honestly say that we felt that we achieved what we wanted to achieve. And was it as much fun as it could be? What I would say, Johnny, is working around the Welsh environment for the build-up to 2016, when I worked with Chris Coleman and the FAW staff, that was a lot more relaxed. Less pressured, more enjoyable. I was involved in bringing Gareth Southgate into the FA, particularly in the under-21 role, and I was always of a view that Gareth had the capability to do what he did do from a cultural side of things. Obviously, tactically and technically on the coaching staff, that would all play out in due course. But I think England do have a clear plan of what they want to do. Obviously, Gareth moved on, didn't quite get across the line, but blimey, he got us very close. I think we were all disappointed at the end not to win the World Cup or reach the final, having been so close in the semi-final to when we're winning 1-0. But you still have to sort of take a sense of realism and say, well, you're getting further than you did previously. The margins are so tight. You're still having to play Spain or France or Argentina and these other top international sides. So as long as you're in the mix for the semi-final stage, I think that's where England's ambition should be every time, with the ultimate ambition of obviously getting across the line and winning.
I mean, I think you started there with a brilliant point, mate, because I get a bit of stick for being Gareth Southgate's mate and defending him. I wouldn't just do that. I'd give you an opinion. And I think my opinion is valid, and you've just really rubber stamped it for me. He was the one who started the process. I didn't say he was a genius, but he started the process of bringing a club-style atmosphere to an international setup. And then Tuchel's been renowned until the last 25 minutes, of course, of the game, lauded and that. And I'm not doing him down either. No. What I was trying to say was there was already some firm foundations laid, and Gareth and the FA deserve a lot of credit for that.
Yeah.
Staying solid through some tough times. And everyone gets to the end, and when people are throwing cups at him and then 3 days later they win and they're lauding him, I think he just went...
He topped the group, by the way.
Yeah.
He was top of the group.
Yeah, I think it's just time for him when he went, nah.
Yeah.
But he'd done his shift, and he deserves a lot of credit for it. Now, of course, you're going to be inevitably judged on winning. He didn't quite do that.
Yeah.
But for a period, it made us incredibly more competitive and successful, apart from the winning bit. And I'm not doing that bit down because that's the most important bit. We'd even take an ugly win to win it, of course. But he's done a lot of work behind the scenes, a lot of support from him to the FA. Now, I don't expect fans to judge people on this, but in the industry, you do.
Yeah.
I have massive respect for all managers.
Yeah.
So I know how hard it is.
Yeah.
And international management, certainly for England, is an incredibly difficult job. And the way he handled it, conduct himself, and some of the work he done away from what you see, deserves a massive amount of credit. And he has had credit. Don't get me wrong, he has had credit, but at the end it kind of ends up being a bit angry in that. And you go, where's that come from? I don't think he deserves that.
Frustration, I think, a little bit. Adrian, very interesting what you said, Adrian, because, Gareth, after 2016, which quite rightly, England were like, well, how are Wales getting to semi-finals and we're going out before them? And, as a country population-wise and, how rich and you went down to Wales and Cookie did a fantastic job of
unbelievable.
A club team, which, Guilhem was talking about Spain. Spain is all about trying to create a club
environment. What I would
environment.
say on that, Johnny, just quickly on that with Chris. I'd never worked with Chris before. I knew him a little bit in the industry, but didn't really know him so well. His man management, I think he simplified everything.
Yeah.
I think he took any pressure that there was on the Welsh players and the staff. He took that all away and he embraced it. He made sure he enjoyed that tournament. And he was always going to enjoy that tournament going into it, whatever pressure came his way.
Yeah.
But his man management during it all, I think we can get. Obviously, it is a tactical game, and I'm not sitting here as a tactical person, but ultimately, I think we can overcomplicate it sometimes.
Yeah.
I think the man management of players at elite level is the most important thing, quite frankly.
And handling what it is.
Yeah, and interesting because Gareth Southgate, people have sort of talked about this, and the Welsh FA said, what a great guy. He went to visit the Welsh FA after 2016. He went down there to say, well, what do they do? What and by 2018, England had created sort of try to create a club environment in. They did a lot of work. They did a lot of work behind the scenes, and there were lots of other people involved. It isn't just down to Gareth Southgate, as you've rightly said there. They did a real big sort of deep dig, for want of a better phrase, as to what the problems were. And look, I know during the time that I was there, I was 17 years I was with them, not always directly with the senior team, but there was a huge amount of pressure with the media. I'm not having a go at the media here, but I think the players felt that pressure, felt that burden of responsibility. And I think Gareth did a great deal to allow other people around the FA to resolve some of the challenges that they were faced with that, and definitely allowed the players to enjoy being England players. They definitely built this club spirit. However they've exactly done that, I don't know. But my abiding memory with Gareth before I finished at the FA was I was with the under-21s. They were playing Croatia in a playoff game. Harry Kane was playing. Steve Holland was assistant, and they beat a very good Croatia side in Croatia over 2 legs. And I could just sense afterwards the staff were so close. They were all very welcomed in. It was a very tight unit, but a very relaxed unit, but focused all the same. And you just felt this is going in the right direction here.
I think my question mark, because we were talking, obviously, we chatted in depth and at length, like everyone has, about the England situation. Having been in the system like you have been, and obviously I know a few of the people who are involved there, good people as well. I have a lot of respect for them, to be fair. But my frustration was purely recently that Tuchel ends up being the manager, and yet I was part of the process. Sorry, let me clear that up because that will be clickbaited. Not for me to be manager. Let me just be. part of the process thinking of the age group who the next managers might be. So I went on my pro license, and they were saying, look, guys like yourself and all you English guys want to, make this program available to turn you or give you a chance to turn into the next England manager. My biggest question mark is how we've gone to a German manager or a foreign manager, irrelevant, by the way, the German bit, doesn't matter to me. Someone outside of the loop of that program. That's the bit what I was saying. That's why I was vouching for Eddie Howe.
Sean, let me just interject there, mate, because I do understand the point you make. We've built St George's Park and ultimately the genesis of St George's Park is to be an education centre, ultimately to develop world-class coaches.
Yeah.
And we need more English world-class coaches. That's a fact. We all recognise that. And to do that, you need to be given opportunities. Yes, you have to be good enough and prove your worth, but you need to have the opportunity. Is it ideal to have a foreign coach as the England national team head coach? Absolutely not. You prefer to have an English person doing that. I think they realised when they'd got to where they'd got to with Gareth that they felt they needed someone who was, elite. I think the phrase has been used to take them over that final hurdle. But in the end, Thomas Tuchel wasn't able to do that, and it hasn't taken them any further than Gareth was able to. That's not a criticism of him, but that's just a statement of fact as to where we are at this moment. But I do believe, long term, they have to be looking at always filling that position where they possibly can with English coaches.
I think we agree with that. Honestly, Adrian, it's been fantastic to have you on. Fascinating to talk to you. Thank you very much for joining us.
Brilliant, guys.
Cheers. Thank you, Adrian. Cheers. Okay, time now for the second race of the day at glorious Goodwood, the Lennox Stakes.
And welcome to Goodwood, and the runners are down at the start for this Lennox Stakes over 7 furlongs. And I have to say, this looks a very interesting renewal. We have an odds-on favourite here in Lake Forest, who was last seen running pretty creditably over a shorter trip at Royal Ascot. But who is winning this one, Lizzie?
Well, I like Lake Forest. He was second in this last year. He was 5th, only beaten a length at Royal Ascot, went off the pace, running on really well in the closing stages of the race. Witness Stand did actually win this last year, but I kind of felt like the tactics suited Witness Stand last year. 3 of them bombed off in front and miles clear, and he got a really good turn into the race. You'd have to question whether you'll have that same pace again. I mean, Kirat obviously was a surprise winner of the Sussex Stakes at 150-1 as a front runner. I wonder whether, they know that he likes Goodwood. I wonder whether they'll be really positive with him.
Yeah, and these colours seen to terrific effect in the big Midsummer Championship at Ascot at the weekend. Kalpana winning. Colin Keane on board Kirat, as you say, that surprise winner. Rogue Diplomat was a Hunt Cup winner at the Royal Meeting. So, but dropping back in trip here may have a bit of an each-way squeak, but certainly a fascinating race. Lake Forest, owned by Tony Bloom, who, of course, is chairman of Brighton, and he's got a big entry in the Sussex Stakes tomorrow. Many Brighton footballers own a horse who's got big chances tomorrow in the Sussex Stakes. But they're all set now. The 8 runners are set, and keenly out is Witness Stand, who veered to his left as he came out of the gates, but Witness Stand is leading. Kirat is in second, coming upside Witness Stand. Behind that one is Marvel Man. Settling down is also Lake Forest, just looking for a position is Kieran Fallon, just trying to settle. Rogue Diplomat has sweated up a lot down the start and is also refusing to settle as they make the turn, having gone through the first 2 furlongs. And Witness Stand leads from Kirat. Marvel Man making a forward move is Lord Britain on the wide outside. Being restrained is Poet Master. Back marker still Rogue Diplomat, and also Lake Forest is just 1 ahead of the sweating up a Rogue Diplomat as they now make the turn with 3 furlongs to go into the straight. It's downhill all the way here to the last half furlong or so, as out in front Witness Stand trying to repeat his victory of 12 months ago. Kirat on the outside. Marvel Man is sitting in third. Coming wide on the outside is Lord Britain, but a lot of ground to make up. Poet Master is also trying to get in on the act, and now Lake Forest is pitched to make a run. It's still out in front. Witness Stand with furlong to go is half a furlong. It's half a length up, and flying on the far side is Holt Queen coming on the far right, and now getting into gear is Lake Forest coming down the middle of the track. Will Witness Stand be able to hold on? Here comes Lake Forest and Kieran Fallon sweeping, and Rogue Diplomat is also flying at the finish. He refused to settle, but Lake Forest has powered down the straight to snatch it in the end from the fast finishing Rogue Diplomat. But a beautifully judged run by Kieran Fallon on Lake Forest. And I think Witness Stand has held on to be third ahead of Kirat, who is in fourth, and then Holguin in fifth. But Lake Forest really flew in the last furlong to snatch it and win comfortably. Rogue Diplomat, who refused to settle, has run a blinder in second in the end. But it's Lake Forest, the 11-10 on favourite.
Yeah, and it's exactly what we saw at Royal Ascot. Obviously, this time he's come out on top, but that held up position. He was about 3/4 of the way back today, making up so much ground in the closing stages of the race, and he's able to do it. He's just got a really nice turn of foot. To be honest, although Rogue Diplomat was very much on his coattails, I sort of felt like he always had him covered. But it was a fantastic ride from Kieran Fallon, who gets on really well with this horse. Witness Stand, I thought, was pretty noble. He did it the hard way, and he's managed to just about cling on for third place. But yeah, a lovely performance from Lake Forest, who's going from strength to strength.
Well, and also Rogue Diplomat, honour in defeat, because he didn't settle early on. He won over a mile at Ascot, but has run a blinder to be second. Lake Forest proving the class act here in the Lennox Stakes. Next up, it's the big one. It's the rematch that we're all looking forward to as Trawlerman and Scandinavia go head-to-head again.
Thank you to our commentary team there, Rupert Bell and Lizzie Kelly. Racing TV is the only channel showing every race live from the Qatar Goodwood Festival and Galway Festival this week. talkSPORT listeners can enjoy a free 1-month trial of the channel. Head to racingtv.com/free trial now. Terms apply.
I've read this a couple of times now. I can't help but think when he comes up with lines about people criticising the refereeing decisions and puts lines in his quotes such as "I'm sorry you missed it all," I can't help but think there's a little dig towards the head of UEFA there, Alexander Seferin.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Obviously, Seferin decided to stay away from the World Cup final, which was quite unprecedented. FIFA were briefing, actually, that was a pre-planned decision, but the message coming out of UEFA very much was that it was a protest by their president. Actually, I picked out a couple of screenshots, and he does talk about some of the refereeing decisions and says it's curious the same countries employing these practices are the ones criticising. He's talking about the decision to overturn Flo Balogun's red card, which for me was probably the most shameful moment of this World Cup. And I'm not going to be a hypocrite, Andy. You were there. Troy obviously lives out in the States. I had a wonderful 5.5 weeks. I thought it was a brilliant tournament. I thought the American hospitality was terrific. But let's not pretend it was perfect. He also talks about bringing two countries at war together.
Good afternoon. Jonny Owen with Sean Dyche here. If you've been with us, welcome back after the break. If you've just joined us on the radio, you're very welcome as well. It's just coming up to 8 minutes past 3. Very hot day. I'm looking at the weather. It's coming up to 30 now, Sean, out there.
I know, mental.
And we're going to talk about Nottingham Forest. I mean, I get so many messages from mates of mine who are Derby fans, but I've been told this is in the script. No, there's nothing to do with me.
I know, yeah. It's nothing to do with you, to be fair.
It's not. Also, just a shout out from a mate of mine, Ian Parky. He's a window cleaner in this weather, bless him. He's had a strong summer.
You'd pour it on your head, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Rather than put it on the window.
He's a big Manchester United fan. Apparently, Sean, we had a load of messages from people going, "What about Arsenal?" You know, we said about Manchester United, you should be what about Arsenal?
Well, I got linked with them through Paul Merson and got bad, and I didn't even do anything. I didn't say a word about managing Arsenal. Who does he think he is? He thinks he can manage Arsenal. Well, I did say a word. Merson said it. I ripped him. I said, Merson, any danger? He said, I did it because I thought it was real. And I went, yeah, but then I got bad for it. And I said, I never said I was going to be the manager of Arsenal. Oh, I love that stuff.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I want to be in Steven Spielberg's next film. So yeah, it's like that.
It's mad, isn't it?
Who does he think he is?
People just add on to a story without you even doing anything.
Yeah.
I keep getting because of my social media now. Oh, he's an influencer. I go, what are you talking about? I'm just out there giving an opinion on life and just some funny stuff. I'm not trying to influence anyone. I'm not even trying to influence myself. You know, what's that all about?
Thought to do on a bikini on Insta, you know, Sean, it's like, that's the next thing.
Honestly,
on a beach in Dubai.
Just trying to share a bit of love, mate. You know, a bit of fun. I've got a new thing coming out.
Very good on social media, though. You got a
little bio thing. If you press on my face on Insta, I've got a little bio coming out.
I've seen that.
Interesting.
What is that then? You just go,
yeah, just a couple of lads at 7C Management I'm working with. They're sort of, advising me on something because obviously I'm a newbie.
Yeah.
And just this idea, they come up with a really good idea. They said, what about a little newsletter, give you insights and a bit of fun, some stuff about music and all that.
Nice.
So yeah, if anyone wants it, we're going to try and see what the rest free. You know,
you got a big follower on Instagram.
Well, it's
10 times mine already.
Yeah, but you know, Johnny, I didn't go into it for that reason. I told the story. I'll quickly remind you what my daughter said about a couple of years ago, just to make you more current. You know what I mean? I've never been against it, but I just use it wisely, and I'm enjoying the media stuff, and I'm enjoying our listeners. I mean it sincerely. I meet, as you know, we meet a lot of them around.
Yeah,
and
they're
about.
brilliant.
So I'm just enjoying something different. It doesn't mean I'm out the game forever. I've just gone down a different path to say, let's have a look somewhere else in life for me. For once, not for everyone else.
Well, good for you. I mean, you're a good man to talk to about this because Sangare, the midfielder for Forest, he signed a new contract.
Very good player.
Interestingly, he was a player that kind of got going under you as well, didn't he?
Yeah, it was a funny one because I'd heard these stories. He had a couple of injuries and, could he quite get going? He was terrific for us. Really enjoyed working there. Won't he always fancy him? Always before we got the job, he always said, I really like him, but if you had said he's a bit different, could he do this? Could he? Well, I tell you what, he was terrific, and him and Elliot Anderson between them were ever so good.
Yeah.
So no, I'm pleased for him. I think it's a really good re-engagement for a very good player.
Those stats when you were there, where we went to the African Cup of Nations, and Forest really struggled without him, didn't they?
Yeah, because he became a very important player. I mean, I like what I saw when we first went in there. He got on with things. He wasn't undermining or any of that. He was a good pro, just got on with things. For whatever reason, didn't learn the language, refused to almost, which always made me laugh. I'll say, big man, come on. And he's going, oh, no, gaffer. Which used to make me laugh. No, I got him well. I just used to really cajole him a little bit and keep him going because I left him alone a lot because he was doing the job and he seemed like he was enjoying it. Maybe tell you different, but he was playing like he enjoyed it.
Was he like, not sure on a generator, was he like a traditional 6 or more an 8? What would you say he was?
Oh, you're going to really start getting me involved with all that. Big lawyer.
Yeah.
No, he can play. I think more like, I would describe it as 2 pistons, him and Elliot.
That's what I thought,
Yeah, 2 pistons in midfield. You're asking them both to, push on. Well, he nicked a great goal, of course. Wonder goal.
Yeah.
The third goal, I think, against Tottenham, we smashed it in the top corner.
Yeah.
So, we were asking them to go and join in, but just give that bit of balance. But I think he's probably better coming from deep than he is playing in the higher role of like the modern 2 8s or a 10. I think he's better as them kind of 2 6s.
2 6s, they're massive. But they'd be wondering out there, a certain generation, what are they talking about, 6 and an 8?
Well, I have to do it now, because if not, people will, that new generation go, what's he talking about? What's the 2 pistons? They go, don't even know what piston is. They're going, is that an electric car or something?
Well, the engine of midfield.
Old money, the engine room, Lothar Matthäus, man with a heart like a bull and all that.
What a player.
Yeah, but they used to do everything. Don't even get me started on academies now where you only... Imagine only saying to a deep... In fact, I'm going to go for it.
Go on.
Imagine in an academy, they do this thing, right? They go, you're a deep line midfielder. They've told him. They haven't really asked them. They've just told him. What about just teaching them how to be a midfield player?
Yeah.
What about running that box and try and score?
Yeah.
And then if you don't score, run all the way back to this box and defend it.
Yes.
That's a good start point.
Yeah.
And then we can add on the tactical thing. But sometimes they're going, that kid has now only got one chance of being a footballer, and that's to be a deep line midfield player.
Yeah.
So give them a bit more freedom, these kids. Let them go and wander around the pitch.
Go and show them some videos of Roy Keane, what he did as a midfielder.
I know, yeah. I know,
Everything. Well,
be flexible in your thinking.
But all the great Forest team of the late 70s talk about Bomber, don't they?
Yeah.
Ian Bowie. They were like, he could do everything. He could score you a goal, he'd get box to box.
Tough as teak.
Tackle, break up attack,
Brian
but
Robson,
also Brian Robson. They could be creative as well.
Yeah.
Midfielders used to have that, didn't they? They could do everything.
They were two pistons.
Yeah.
They would drive in one box, and the other one would protect the back four.
Yeah.
Hold the middle position.
Yeah.
Then they recover.
Yes. Well, Spain. Just Spain.
4-4-2. 4-4.
Absolutely.
2. As I always get told. That's it for Dyche. Brexit football. Make Dyche Spanish manager. Dyche to be the new manager of Spain. 4-4-2.
He thinks he wants to be the Spanish man.
Forward to the big man.
In one show, he's gone from Manchester United to Spain.
Yesterday, I was Prime Minister.
We were doing laws earlier on.
I'm so tired.
I need some bread. I've had loads of messages about bread. Agree with Johnny on bread. I was going to say, so, but Forest this year, I mean, they'd be happy with a sort of a solid mid-table.
No. They should be happy with that because it's another progression, but I don't think they will be happy with that. I think the new manager is under not pressure, of course. He'll get time, of course.
Yeah.
But you know the fans are like, why aren't we doing this and why aren't we doing that? So just got to be a bit careful. That's all I represented when I was there. I said, look, just, it's one season at a time. In the early seasons of a club like Nottingham Forest becoming what Nottingham Forest were when I was there as a kid. They're still in that change around period, I think. Yes, they should have the capability to be certainly in the top thinking of the Premier League. But it's not that easy. You don't just turn up every season and go, right, we're now a top 8 club. It's not that easy.
No, that's good. Don't miss TalkSport Breakfast with Andy Goldstein and Andy Townsend tomorrow morning. Andy Townsend's a good lad.
Yeah,
great lad.
What a player he was.
Andy Goldstein as well. But
very good.
Again, what a player could do.
I remember
everything.
Keane saying when he was a kid and he went away with the Irish guy, he said, who's got? He said, him.
He can play.
He said, what a good player.
Yeah. I got to finish this video. I got a quick funny story with Andy Townsend. He's playing for Chelsea against Forest, and as he's running, he's only a youngster. He's going. You can hear a voice going, pass it, son. You need to pass it. And he looks across and he looks up, and it's Brian Clough giving him advice.
Shouting to the opposition.
Yeah, and one of the Forest players went, well, why is he giving me advice? He went, he can't help himself. He manages everybody on the pitch.
Yeah.
They'll be crossing live to Nottingham Forest's pre-season training camp in Portugal to speak to the manager, Oliver Glasner, captain Ryan Yates and starman Morgan Gibbs-White. So don't miss TalkSport Breakfast tomorrow morning from 6 a.m.
Vinicius Jr. I'll read this from the Telegraph Sport, their sports pull-out this morning. Dom King writes, Arsenal prepared to offer Brazilian forward Vini Jr. the biggest contract in the club's history as they plot to outline their soaring ambition. He currently commands a weekly salary, 400,000 euros a week at Madrid, but Arsenal would look to improve that to maximise their chances of pulling off an audacious coup. It kind of came out of nowhere, didn't it, boys, on Saturday afternoon. He's got a year left on his deal at Real Madrid. Arsenal exploring the possibility, Troy, of signing Vinny Jr. Is it going to happen? And if it does happen, where does this rank in Premier League history in terms of biggest coups for the Premier League, not just Arsenal?
If it did happen, it would be amazing for the Premier League to have a superstar on that level in terms of global appeal, blah, 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 all that stuff. I don't like it.
Why?
I don't like it. I don't think it suits the way that Arsenal play. I don't think his personality suits Arteta.
What do you mean his personality?
I think he's a massive diva in regard to like what he wants, what he needs, and I don't think he would buy into the collective. And now that would be something new for Arteta to have to deal with, right? Because he's all about the group. So how do you have Saka on one side, who's the captain, has done everything right, and then you bring in this guy and go, oh, by the way, everyone, give him the ball, and you have to keep giving him the ball.
This is Jonny Owen and Sean Dyche. I played that. That's a band called The Heat, called Mind Control. The song's getting a lot of heat at the moment. Yeah,
no, it's good. Yeah,
getting
got a bit of a punky, almost punky edge.
Yeah, just getting lots of singles of the week and stuff.
Livesy as well. But
yeah,
livesy sort of.
Yeah, playing a lot in Camden and things like that apparently. So I'm trying to go and see them if I can.
Yeah, I'll try and get up.
Yeah. So it's good. We're very lucky. Today we've had some brilliant guests because yesterday we were talking about sort of English football. European football, certainly. It's all that you've seen on the news. Italy have just appointed Bobby Mank, Roberto Mancini. France have gone with Zinedine Zidane, one of the truly great players ever. Germany have gone with Jurgen Klopp. So everybody's aware that football, everybody's sort of looking to a bit of a reset. Me and Sean were talking about. Had Adrian Bevington on talking about the English FA, trying to do all they can just to get England over that line of winning a major tournament. But we're very lucky to have a guy. He's a fantastic journalist on South American football. Brilliant. Tim Vickery. He's going to join us now so we can talk about Argentina and Brazil and those kind of teams, because I think it's something we lose. We become a bit Eurocentric sometimes, Sean, don't we? But these countries are always there or thereabouts. Argentina won the previous World Cup and got to the final here. And Brazil, one of the truly great World Cup countries ever from when I was a boy, who've fallen by the wayside a little bit. So it'd be great to get sort of the view from South America. Tim, welcome to the show.
Yeah, lovely to be here. Honestly, I don't go into hibernation every 4 years between World Cups. I'm still here.
Yeah, available from all. No, it's just, listen, I mean, Argentina's the big one, right? Everybody you speak to in England, from a little kid to a top sort of court, will go, they sat too deep. They didn't have any outlet. They let Argentina play and all that. But everybody can kind of forget that was a decision by Argentina as well to take the initiative of the game, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it's hard to win back-to-backs, isn't it? There's a reason it hasn't been done since Brazil in 1962.
That's right.
And one of those reasons, I think, is that if you're a league side, you can change the team during the course of your league season. You can have a tweak here and have a tweak there. I think with international sides, it's much, much harder to do it. The international side, it tends to stay together while it's winning until it stops winning.
Yeah.
And the thing that they didn't have this time around is, for me, one of the greats, Di Maria. I've never seen a player like Di Maria who has all of the ability of an absolute world-class star, but none of the ego. You want him to play a supporting role to Cristiano Ronaldo at Real Madrid, he'll do it. You want him to play a supporting role at Lionel Messi with Argentina, he'll do it. You want him to put him in a midfield three and even try and balance out Paris Saint-Germain at their most top-heavy, he'll do it. He just solved so many problems. And in the final against France and Qatar, and I thought, like most people did, I don't see how Argentina are going to hold them. And what Scaloni did, the coach, was he found a way to impose his game on France, picking Di Maria, who hadn't played in the semi, and he came in for the final. And everyone thought, well, if he comes in, he's going to attack Hernandez, the French left-back, and he didn't. He went the other side and attacked Koundé. The French weren't expecting it, and he just found a way to take the game away from the French. And Di Maria had helped them put them 2-0 up, and there were 20 minutes to go, and France hadn't played yet. And then it ended up unwinding into one of those great all-time finals.
It was, yeah, it was a great final.
This time round, he hasn't got Di Maria. And they struggled through every knockout game.
They did, didn't they? Yeah.
Yes. In Qatar, they dominated almost every knockout game. This time, they didn't dominate any of them until maybe the closing stages when there was a rally or something. So what he tried to do, he brought in the left-sided midfielder, Nico Gonzalez, to try and do a Di Maria, to attack Koundé. It was to attack the right back there, Pedro Porro from Spain. It was an attempt to do the same kind of thing. But it didn't work at all. And Nico Gonzalez isn't Di Maria. And then he found he'd left himself light in central midfield. And Gonzalez was having to come in and make the extra man. If not, Spain could just play through him. So he ended up abandoning that idea at half time. And he didn't really have any ideas apart from just, let's hang on there and hope. And it wasn't enough, and they were well beaten in the final.
Yeah.
They went home nonetheless, gentlemen. They went home to a hero's welcome in Argentina.
Yeah.
Remember, Argentina they'd gone 28 years without winning anything, without winning a senior title, from 1993 until 2021, and then this side together They had a 5-year period when they won everything. So there's a lot of gratitude for the side. And I know that the way that it all went down, and some of the things that Argentina were doing, even before and after the final whistle, very, very controversial in England. Not controversial at all in Argentina.
No, it was
just a non-issue. You go to the war with the weapons that you have, and if it's not enough, then you try and get a petition to change to get the game replayed, which some people are trying to do in Argentina. There's a petition. There's a petition going around. More than 100,000 people have signed it to get the game replayed on the basis that the ref was biased. So there's an element of denial about what happened.
Sounds like most football fans. I was just going to tell them that you've been chatting to Sean because he talks about all these things about players that put aside ego or will do anything for the team. It's exactly what Sean's been talking about this whole time. And what we were interested in, sort of, because we were talking about a European sense where there's an academy system and some of the richest FAs in the world and what they're going to do in Germany need to get back to their old mentality of being efficient. That Klopp is talking about that. What Spain do. What does Argentina do? All the great players tend to go to Europe. But what is the youth system and how do kids play in Argentina?
Well, they play a lot. There is still a lot of street football in Argentina. It's a tradition which is disappearing in Brazil, street football, which worries me a lot. And I think it's part of, there are many explanations for what's happened in Brazil, but that's one of them. Where it used to be informal street, now it's futsal, and I don't think it's exactly the same. There's such a strong football culture in Argentina. They talk about football all the time. They talk about tactics. They talk about mentality. So the Argentines, that they can leave and go abroad at 18, 19, 20. But when they come back together, they can still be Argentina. It is a worry, obviously, that that you're just producing players to be sold, but it doesn't only apply to South America. It applies to like Croatia as well. It's a global thing of the talent congregating in a few leagues in Western Europe. And I always think, I look at the Premier League now and just how entitled the fans have become. This sense of entitlement that you're gonna be signing the best players in the world. It wasn't like that when we were kids, was it?
No.
What's your thoughts on the Brazilian side of things? Because I was discussing before we came on the show about Brazil, and I was brought up in an era when, well, no, not even that long ago actually, where they talked about kids coming out the favelas and stuff, playing football endlessly on terrible pitches, terrible surfaces, like from morning, noon, and night almost in your imaginary view. And it seems to me like the Brazilian thing has gone a little bit show busy to me. Some of them players have become, they're so big now that it's sort of, I don't know why, but I always had this feeling, and this might be way off the mark, that when Brazilians got that shirt, it meant it was like life or death to hold that shirt and to play for that shirt. I don't know why, but I don't get that sense anymore. And I know you could say that of a lot of teams in modern football. I know that. But you know what I mean? There was like a depth to it to wear that shirt. I don't know whether I'm right or wrong here. What do you think?
I think it still exists, and the reason that people think it's gone is more results based than anything else. I do see worrying things, and one of them is and it's a huge pleasure to be able to exchange ideas with you, Sean. But one of them is if you think of the original Ronaldo, the Brazilian Ronaldo. In a way, I think he's the last of the Mohicans because he was a normal kid. He was a normal working class Rio kid, jumping the train without paying the fare and all of the stupid things you do until he was like 16. And then by the time he's 18, he's an absolute global superstar. But at 16, he's still like a normal kid. What's happened now is that they're like businesses from the age of 7 and 8. They're hot housed from 7 and 8, and so often, like Neymar is a pioneer of this in many ways. They've got a dad behind them who's like a business manager, and they're seen in like business terms, and they're hot housed from the age of 7 and 8, and quite often they're not playing in the street anymore because they're not allowed. Wow. Their clubs won't allow them to play on the street because of the risk of injury. And this is really sad, I think. Sometimes they just have to sit and watch their mates playing because they're not allowed. Their clubs won't let them do it because of the risk of injury. And so often these days, from really, really early, their family will just stop working. And the kid who's getting big money early doors, he becomes the centre of this cottage industry where he's having, at the age of, well before 15, He's supporting an extended family who just become his support structure. Now, I don't think there's any way that you can live through that at that age and be a normal person. I just don't think you can, and so that, I think, is a difference between the Ronaldo and some of the talent that comes through today. They're not growing up as normal kids anymore.
Tim, just to finish off, from my point of view, I couldn't agree more, because I was talking yesterday and today. Mainly, I've been talking about going back to the beginning of kids and where they start and what it takes and all the storylines from then. And what you're suggesting is happening in England right in front of, well, my eyes as a manager, youth team manager. Don't forget, I was a reserve manager and a manager, and I've seen it with my own eyes. Very similar to your suggestion. They're a product before they're even just a kid playing football now.
Tim, it's been brilliant to talk
Cheers,
to you. Honestly, we're fascinated. Thanks very much for joining us and all the stuff we were talking about. Well, the sun is shining, so make sure to grab a pint of So Good Lager from talkSPORT. And meantime, I might do that, Sean. It's available in all O'Neill's pubs and some of the best sports bars across the country. That's So Good Lager. Find out where your nearest pub is at talksport.com/so good. 18 plus. Always drink responsibly.
Of course, without a shadow of a doubt.
What do you make of that, Vinicius Junior? He doesn't like it.
I think there's a lot of assumption in it. I saw the clip, and let's be honest, it's a section of a clip, right? So me and him had a back and forth, and it was actually a good chat actually on WhatsApp. And I said, listen, mate, I'm going on talkSPORT and I'm talking about this. And he goes, well, think about it, Joel. Like, Mikel has gotten rid of the likes of Aubameyang because of, the attitude issues. Why should he go back to that once, you've gone so far, you've won the league, you've done everything. Now you're going to bring in someone who could disturb the peace. And he's been so-so. That's what triggered me when he said he's been so-so for Madrid and Brazil. I said, hang on a minute, Troy. You're saying he's been so-and-so for Madrid, but if we look at the stats, in 2025-2026 season, he had 53 games, 22 goals, 9 assists. That's 9 assists. That's 31 goal contributions. And don't forget, the person who operates in his favoured position is the one and only Kylian Mbappe. Now, it's very obvious that him and Kylian are on each other's toes. So it's not that he's so-so. They haven't been able to get the best out of Vinny for the last 2 years. Is it his fault? No. It's because they've got two players playing in similar positions. He then said he's so-so for Brazil. Well, Brazil are in a transition anyway. They haven't been the best in general. I think there's a lot of assumption there where he's not going to buy into it. We don't know if he's going to buy into it or not. I do understand that it does change hierarchy. They are going to have to start playing him the ball, but so what?
Yes, it's time now for our final race of the day at glorious Goodwood, the Goodwood Cup Stakes. It's the big rematch between Trollerman and Scandava. Let's hand over to the commentary team of Rupert Bell and Lizzie Kelly.
Yeah, eagerly anticipated this renewal after the epic battle down the home straight at Ascot for the Ascot Gold Cup with Scandinavia. The young pretender relatively to Trawlerman, who's 8 years of age. Lizzie, mouth-watering prospect. Is it just a two-horse race?
I think we've got two headline acts, haven't we? Obviously, following on from Royal Ascot, it's going to be all about them, and obviously it has been all about them in the run-up to this. There are other horses involved, and there is strength and depth underneath them. Rahieb has been a horse who has been always improving under the very careful handling of Roger Varian. French Master is a horse who perhaps hasn't particularly fulfilled his potential up until now. Lazy Griff, Amilock, both in there as well. For me, you know, I think they'll struggle to really land a blow with these front two. I think Trawlerman, he'd come into Ascot, that was his first race of the season, whereas Scandinavia had a couple of prep runs before Ascot. We've obviously got a bit of a question mark about Aidan O'Brien's form at the moment, and that could be bringing his price out a little bit more as well.
Well, they're loading quickly. Trawlerman's tape, the goggles have come off. He goes down to the start wearing giant ski goggles, basically, because he's got light sensitive, and so but all sorted. Rahieb looks to be the last of this really decent group of 2 milers for the £500,000 Al Shakab Goodwood Cup. Are we going for another epic? And they're off and running, and Trawlerman gets a very quick break, and also being booted up is and it looks like Amilock has lost his jockey coming out of the stall, so we're down to 7, so a messy start there as they settle down, and Scandinavia is the one who's taking them along with Lazy Griff, so drama at the start here as Amilock and Hector Crouch parted company coming out of the stall. So they're settling down now, Lizzie, with Trawlerman looking to be going well with on the outside of that one Lazy Griff, then tucked in behind is Illinois and Scandinavia, then Rahieb, gap back to French Master, and the backup marker is the only mare in the race, Miss Alpeels. He's out the back, but the loose horse is leading them as they're going to make the turn from the furthest point away from the grandstand, and Trawlerman just keeping a wide berth basically away from the loose horse, Lizzie.
Yeah, just trying to make sure that Trawlerman doesn't get too lit up by the horse trying to get in front of them. He's travelling along really nicely. Scandinavia not far behind him.
Okay, and on the inside of that one is Lazy Griff, trained by Charlie Johnson. Austin Murphy on board this one as Trawlerman with a settling down now with William Buick. He's just trying to control the pace from the front. Ryan Moore getting a little bit closer now on Scandinavia. Lazy Griff content to be in third, then Rahieb, and then Illinois, and towards the rear it's French Master and Miss Alpeels. But Trawlerman, just as he did at Ascot, wants to try and dictate everything from the front, but he was worn down in the latter stages. This is a half a mile shorter this particular race as Trawlerman leads and going along nicely, but Scandinavia now starting to move upside. Impressive move from Ryan Moore here. He wants to keep Trawlerman in his slipstream.
Yeah, very much doesn't want William Buick to take a pull or give his horse a breather, very much making sure the stamina will be coming into play.
Well, they've got about a mile to go now, and Trawlerman leads. The loose horse is weaving around across the course, and it could cause a few problems here for Trawlerman as they hit the rising ground, and they've got about 7 furlongs to go, and Trawlerman has to switch to the inside to get away from the unridden Amilock. So out in front, it's still Trawlerman and Scandinavia, and the big two are putting daylight between the rest at the moment. Illinois is in third with Lazy Griff, but William Buick still out in front with 4 furlongs to go, leads by 2 furlongs. Scandinavia in second, then it's Lazy Griff, then it's Illinois. Trawlerman now coming now with 3 furlongs to go, is starting to inject some real pace in proceedings, but Scandinavia is poised ominously just about a length down. Then there's a 3-length gap back to Illinois, stablemate to Scandinavia. Scandinavia. William Buick getting really hard to work now on Trawlerman with 2.5 furlongs to go in the Goodwood Cup. The loose horse is causing all sorts of drama there for Trawlerman. That might cost him the race as he had to pull hard, and Scandinavia is able to go into the lead here, and Trawlerman's challenge looks to have been done by the loose horse. Drama with 2 furlongs to go with Scandinavia, but Trawlerman is all hot. Rahieb is trying to run on. Trawlerman's race looks to be done. Unfortunately, the loose horse has caused all the problems here because the showdowns never happened, as Scandinavia has just been kept up to his task by Ryan Moore and is going away to win by 6, 7, 8 lengths. Trawlerman is going to stay on just for second. Rahieb in third, then French Master. But as I say, real drama in that final stages with the loose horse Amelot causing all sorts of problems for Trawlerman.
Yeah, you have to really feel for William Buick and the team with Trawlerman, the Gosden team, because you just feel like he didn't really get his fair run of the race at any stage, especially, you know, obviously being the front runner. He had to change tack a couple of times just to try to make sure he wasn't getting the loose horse wasn't getting in the way of them. But Scandinavia's won that very, very well. I suppose that the team behind Scandinavia would say, well, he's won well enough that maybe it didn't matter. But yeah, it's kind of meant we've not really had the rerun of the race that we had at Royal Ascot that we so wanted.
Well, Trawlerman, again, second, running another good race. He's 8 years of age now, but he was, as I say, done by Amelot, who was always out in front and creating problems, and we saw numerous times William Buick having to switch directions. But in the end, the 6-5 favourite Scandinavia has obliged. So in the end, sometimes you can overhype things, but unfortunately the loose horse is the one who's probably taken the real glory here, sort of not right glory, but actually those actually caused the problems. But Scandinavia, a worthy winner, make no mistake. This is a very good stare and probably would have won anyway, but not by the margin that he eventually did. Trawlerman holding on for a gallant second, Rahieb running on to be third. But it's Scandinavia. Ryan Moore, Aidan O'Brien winning the big one on day one here at Glorious Goodwood.
Racing TV is the only channel showing every race live from the Qatar Goodwood Festival and Galway Festival this week. talkSPORT listeners can enjoy a free 1-month trial of the channel. Head to racingtv.com/free trial now. Terms apply.
Neutral hat on, or remove the fact that I'm Liverpool and you're Chelsea, just to have one of the best players in the world come to the Premier League when we're so used to losing the best players in the world to La Liga is massive for the Premier League.
It'd be massive, absolutely massive for the Premier League. I totally agree with you. But I think it's you have to look at it through the lens of Arsenal. You have to look at what this means for Arsenal. They're behaving exactly as they should. When you are champions, you come with being champions of England comes with the power. It comes with the opportunity, and they're making the most of it. I think this probably, if this happens, Vinicius Junior landing at Arsenal. Arsenal were already Premier League champions. They were Champions League finalists. They were Champions League semi-finalists last year. You think about the momentum of Arsenal. If he lands at Arsenal and is the missing piece to them winning a European Cup, it immediately becomes money well spent. It probably goes down, what? Off the top of my head here, biggest signing in Premier League history?
Yeah.
When you think about what rivals it, I think you could argue maybe. Do you remember when Pogba went to Manchester United and it was Pog back, Pog back,
that was
and all
big.
that? Stormzy playing a piano on.
That was big, but because we'd already had him in the Premier League, it was big. Don't get me wrong, because he went to Juventus and turned into a monster. You're correct, and then came back and was like, okay, this is a completely different Pogba. He looked almost like a foot taller, a foot wider. He looked.
Also, he'd won 3 leagues in a row, hadn't he, with Antonio Conte? Like he'd been an integral part of 3 Scudettos.
As good as Paul Pogba was back then, he was never like Ballon d'Or conversation, Paul Pogba. No one ever said Paul Pogba was the best player in the world.
No.
Whereas
Jonny Owen and Sean Dyche here, just coming up to 3:45 on a very hot day in London, and we're flying up to Glasgow where it's been raining and cloudy, but John Cushion's going to tell us all about what's happening at the Commonwealth Games.
It's been raining medals as well, though. We've won in gymnastics, weightlifting and bowls on day 5. Sam Tolchard, who is a self-employed electrician from Torquay, is buzzing after his first Commonwealth gold in his 5th Games, the 37-year-old taking the men's bowls singles title. We've got 5 guaranteed medals now for Scotland, England, Wales and Northern Ireland after the quarter-final wins in the boxing earlier. Another 8 home nation fighters go this evening. Can you do it on a wet night in Glasgow? It's the men's 100 metres final tonight, the women's 100 metres final tonight as well. Amy Hunt for Team England, Ferdinand Omanyala of Kenya, the defending Commonwealth Games champion, the fastest man in Africa. We will see them in action in the semis and then hopefully the finals. And Kate O'Connor of Northern Ireland, a Commonwealth Games silver medalist 4 years ago. She leads the heptathlon as we head into the shot put and the 200 metres tonight. If you fancy being here, the tickets are still available. Glasgow2026.com. This is the Commonwealth Games and it's live across the talkSPORT network.
Brilliant. Thank you, John. Wonderful updates. Medals galore. Raining medals for the home nations. Fantastic. Okay. We've had a great show. We had some fantastic response. Yesterday, like I say, we started this conversation about what international teams can do to sort of catch up with Spain, who obviously set the template this World Cup. And we've spoken to people about England. Obviously, I've mentioned Wales. We mentioned sort of talking about Spain. We've been very lucky with the people, even gone to South America. But now it's today in the news as well, because the French, obviously, they got knocked out in the semi-final by Spain with a hugely fancy team, a team packed full of talent. And we're very lucky here to have a gentleman who can tell us what's happening over in France. Obviously, they've just appointed arguably the greatest ever player, Zinedine Zidane, star of the 1998 World Cup. I remember very well. And he's going to talk us through about, you know, what French football can do after sort of winning a tournament and now sort of, you know, what they can do to sort of rebuild. Eric Bilderman is with us. Eric, welcome to the show.
Hello, good afternoon.
Lovely to have you on the show. Just chat us through. How does everybody feel in France about the appointment of Zizou?
It's just about joy and even I would say even pride. This is the absolute jewel of French football. 30 years ago, when Michel Platini became the French manager, it was exactly the same mood. It didn't work so well with Michel Platini. But now with Zinedine Zidane, the big difference is that Zinedine has achieved as Real Madrid manager. He won 3 Champions League in a row with the new system of Champions League. He was the first club ever to achieve it so. And he said, and it's true, that he was waiting, refusing any offer for any club to wait for the French national team to give him a call. And this is, I would say, this is even too much joy, it's too positive. You know, when there is such a heavy greetings, you just have to remember that heavy task is waiting for him.
He's incredibly, he's one of the greatest players in the history of the game, has waited for this role. Tell us a little bit what the setup is like in France for young players, Eric. I mean, you've got the greatest team in Europe at the moment in PSG. What is their system like for bringing players through and other clubs? Is it an academy system that's very similar to sort of the English model?
You know, we have what we call centre de formation. Is the equivalent of the academy. French football have made its revolution in the 80s and 90s. We were so poor on the national and international level that we brought like education system to grow up our own player because we knew that we couldn't buy the very best. When the Bosman case came and then you could lose all your French players and you couldn't really buy the very best of the South American or the very best of the English football, then you have the only way to succeed is to grow up quality players, and then you have to sell them. You have to sell them to the Premier League. You have to sell them to La Liga. We know, but when you do sell these players very well educated on football terms, then when they do play with the heaviest and the strongest league and the strongest club in the world, then when they do come back to play for France, they bring something extra. And then it's like a puzzle. Then the two pieces work together, and it gives quite an efficient world-class football team.
You know, the clubs have their own academies. Is it still running the Clairefontaine Academy where they take kids from certain areas for a certain period of their week and then they play with their local sides?
Yeah. We still have the Academy of the French Football Association, and Clairefontaine is the headquarter, like you do have also one in England. So, of course, players from clubs have session to work with the from the very young team to the under 21 to then the A team. This process is working on, but the nucleus, the heart bone, I don't know to say this in English, it's from the club. The club, they really 30 years ago, Nantes was an academy so much ahead in time compared to other clubs, and now we can say Rennes. We can say it's not always the very big club like Paris Saint-Germain. They do have an efficient academy. But the medium class French club, they know that survival is about producing great players, selling big money on such young fellows, and then they can monitor to make the academy working again, having new players. So vital is the club structure.
There's still a lot of players because when I was in the youth system many years ago, Clairefontaine was spoken about endlessly, in the UK about how they were getting players, but they're also getting players often from really tough backgrounds and almost street footballers, you know what I mean, and polishing them up a bit, and giving them some kind of formal, possibly education or some guidelines,
life lessons,
some life lessons and some boundaries, to work within.
Yeah,
is that still the case? They're still doing that?
Most of the French players, if you look at the French national team, they come from the suburb. They come from, of course, the I would say second or third class in terms of social background. And street football is part, of course, of their quality. But you can say this on Ribéry years ago. You could say the same with Griezmann, was not detected by the clubs, but most of them, they are not really anymore street football, because from the very early age, 11, 12, 13, when they get caught by scouts, they go on the system, then they go on a bigger club from their local, they go on a bigger club, then they go to be staying at home and going to have training session with the youth system detection of Paris Saint-Germain, for instance, and then if they are good enough, they go to be official in the academy. So most of them, they are very early age educated as professional to be, or professional expected or hoping to be.
Brilliant. Eric's fascinating. And listen, enjoy the honeymoon period, as we call it in the UK, with Zinedine Zidane there. Enjoy the buzz.
Yeah, it is.
Good luck with it all. And fascinating to find out what they do in France. A much more centralised system. So it's a bit like players would go to St George's Park, that's what he's saying, as part of almost like a mid-tier academy.
You know what's interesting? We've had some brilliant, since we started this theme yesterday and we picked it up again today, think of the people who have spoken out. Do you know what keeps coming up? Kids, if you think about it, are getting introduced too early to other sort of sources. It might be agents. They're suddenly getting taken out of their natural zone to develop, are going into academies or into specialist units, or not allowed to play for certain teams and all that. The restrictions at some point have maybe got to get looser, to get these kids to be more fluid in their play. Do you know what I mean? Not as regimented in because everyone's brought it up. It's basically going back to very young ages and grassroots.
Well, they worked out, didn't they? I mean, we've talked yesterday just briefly, because we're going to finish off by talking about the newly promoted teams from the Championship and get your insight. But we talked about the Australian Institute of Sport, and when they started, they had a very centralised system, and it worked. But they actually worked out exactly what you said, because they're always thinking ahead, the Australians, when it comes to sport. Brilliant. They worked out that sometimes kids are better staying in their environment with their friends, and so you can hothouse them too much because you take them. And what they worked out was actually, and they spread the Institute of Sport and made it much more devolved.
For our listeners, because I am old, no, I was involved in the years of Lilleshall. And that was their concept was actually right. It was giving them not only a place they could go and learn, but also an environment they could practice football in. But they forgot they're human beings. They're little human beings, and not many of them took to it. Lilleshall's miles away from most places in Shrewsbury. And so they couldn't quite, you know, they forgot about the human element.
Yeah.
You know, kids are obsessed with football, but they still need the nurturing of their families and friends and a bit of natural habitat, as I call it.
Yeah.
You know, I was very fortunate to come in through before the real academy systems. So I was still playing I used to go and play for Nottingham Forest in the morning on a Sunday and go and play for my Sunday club in the afternoon. I'm not saying that's right and proper, by the way. You know, because I was desperate to just play football all the time. And you learn all them little tricks and nuances of football from that style. How we can find a better blend in the modern way and the modern generation, and still health and safety, make sure these kids are safe, give them education, all that. That's probably where it's at for me, is how do we find a better blend than what it's been?
Brilliant. I mean, we've had a fantastic response from you all. I'm just going to finish off now. We're talking to Sean about the three promoted teams, Hull, Coventry and Ipswich. Poor Hull already have sort of had to sell some players because of FFP. Coventry done a great job there, didn't he, Frank Jr., bringing them up superb. And Ipswich sort of bouncing straight back. I mean, it's so difficult to sort of come straight up, back up in Hull, obviously. What's the conversation, Sean? What are they all going? They're going, we need to survive. That's the main thing. And I suppose you go in, how do you do it? Now, there's one model, which Forest and Sunderland, where they spend a lot of money and you get that. And Ipswich kind of tried that. But then there's the other model where you just go, look, we have to batten down the hatches, which you've done in Burnley, and you go, maybe we can go up and come down, but you build. What's the conversation like?
It's very difficult. You know, I've seen over the last few years, and I've spoken openly about it, teams came up with a brand, if you like, and tried to do that in the Premier League and got smashed to bits and went straight back down.
Yeah.
You know, a couple of seasons ago, it was one of the record lows of all three teams coming up and all three going down, but the lowest points. Not doing them down because it's very, very difficult.
Yeah.
I just hope these teams realise that and go, right, we probably, anyway, can't do what we were doing in the last division against these guns that we play against, you know. So how can we?
Yeah.
You know, I hate this this thing that always goes in my head and it drives me mad is, yeah, we might go down, but we'll go down playing the right way. What about playing the wrong way and staying up?
Yeah.
That's always my advice.
Yeah.
But not necessarily the wrong way. Find a way that can stay up. You know, not the wrong way. It's poor words from me because it's not the wrong way or the right way. Yeah. There's many different ways to play football and win.
Yeah.
But make sure you don't lose sight of what the goal is. And that first season is to stay in the Premier League. Now, of course, Sunderland did it magnificently last year, but they spent a lot of money.
They did, yeah.
Yeah, and so that is a big gamble, of course. And if teams want to do that, that's fine. But there's plenty of stories when they haven't. Burnley spent a lot of money, didn't work. Fulham spent a lot of money, didn't work.
Yeah.
You know, over the last sort of 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
So it's not a guarantee.
No.
That's the biggest decision before you even kick a ball for the board and the ownership is, are we going to go for it and put everything out there on the pitch? But if it doesn't work, we're back to square one again, financially particularly. Or are we going to manage it wisely and kind of hedge our bets that we can have a go at staying in?
Yeah.
Or in Burnley's case, the first time all them years ago, was the board made a decision, we're not going to try and do it out there. We're going to build the club. And that was partly guided by me and the inclusion of the board.
Yeah.
Where we said, no, the club needs more than just one season possibly in the Premier League. It needs new training ground and all that.
Yes.
These are the three situations, I think, for new clubs who have just come up. That's the hardest thing.
Yeah. So, stick or twist, basically, is those comments. But fair enough.
All right, so I'll give you all that insight and you just throw out stick and twist. Cheers, mate. Thanks.
No, but it's fascinating for fans because on the one hand, you're right, you can be accused of not having enough ambition. And then you're saying to people, look, you know, this might be 2 or 3 years. And, you know, Sean, the patience in football now is like politics. It's not there. It's in social media. So it's such a, you would have to be, as a young manager, your conversation with Bernie, and people love listening to this, is to have the conversation with the board and say, right, this is what we're going to do, and they're going to back you.
Yeah, and whatever one of them formats say. And don't get me wrong, it's the shifting sands of a season can change the kind of structure of the club, of course.
Yeah.
But generally, there has to be in my opinion, there has to be an agreed way of trying to go at the Premier League, and this is before you even get on the pitch and the tactics, by the way, from the club. And then if the manager gets that, at least the goalposts are there. You know, this is where they are. It's when they start moving the goalposts, that's when it's really difficult to manage.
Sean, it's been fascinating. I do wonder how quickly one of them will come knocking for you. It's been brilliant 2 days. Thanks, everybody, for your unbelievable sort of positive idea. You've been fantastic. Listen to your views about football. I'm Jonny Owen Sean Dyche. Have a wonderful evening.
It's boxing. I said it in the interview the other day. It's heavyweight boxing. He got caught by a fighter who's had 20 knockouts.